the motorsports capital of the world in Indianapolis, Indiana. We want to welcome you to our coverage of the 33rd Annual World Figure Eight Championship from the Indianapolis Speedrome. Alongside my broadcast partner, this is Speedrome News Director Scott and I'm Jonathan Bird. We count it as an honor and privilege for you to join us this evening as we have so many incredible things happening here for this great, super exciting event. It is the greatest figure eight race on the planet. And as you can see behind us, the spectacle is beginning. The crews are pushing their cars out on the track. We're just moments away from the green flag and the start of this fantastic event. And Scott and we've got a lot of incredible storylines to go along. Not to mention just the fact that the 3-hour distance of this race, the leader will have to probably make it through that crossover over 900 times. You've got some exciting storylines for us to follow all throughout the evening.
That's right, Jonathan. We have a great field here tonight trying to win the $20,000 first prize. 7 former World Figure Eight champions are on hand and in this starting field, and the top 15 qualifiers are all within 1 second qualifying. So it's a tight, close field. We also have some other things to watch. There's a $5,000 award for top finishing stock class car, and there's a whole good group of guys looking for that big bonus tonight here. And also, we have some great out-of-town competitors here tonight. It's been over 20 years since an out-of-towner has won this World Figure Eight Championship, and I think we got some guys tonight who can show the boys from the Speedrome that they're the best. So we'll have to wait and see.
We'll see cars from representing over 7 states all throughout this country making their way here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Now, racing in general, there's always a lot of different rules, and figure eight racing, and specifically at the Indianapolis Speedrome, can be very, very exciting. Here's a short introduction as to how the drivers will be getting around this track tonight. The Indianapolis Speedrome was built in 1941 and has been racing non-stop except for the war for the past 67 years. The course is a 1/5 mile oval and it's all paved, and the oval is laid out by 6 concrete, what we call marker tires. They are made out of concrete. They're very tall. Guys just cannot run over them without doing maybe a little bit of damage to their cars. The 6 marker tires that you see are all part of the oval. All drivers must touch, go around, but they must at least make contact with these marker tires to be scored on that lap. If anybody misses a marker tire, it's a 1-lap penalty. The figure eight course is marked by the 4 corner marker tires. The middle marker tire is not part of the course. You'll see some drivers go underneath the marker tire and try to pass a slower moving car that is running on the low part of the figure eight course. The green flag flies at the south end with corner number 1 there. They'll move around the south end of the Speedrome, moving around the second corner marker tire. They'll come down the stretch and they must make it to corner number 3. They can use any portion of the infield as a part of the figure eight course. Coming around the north end, anywhere along the north end, getting around to the 4th corner marker and down the stretch to take the checkered flag and figure eight glory here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. So as you can see, so many great things getting ready to happen here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. And we'll be back with the green flag. You're watching our coverage of the 33rd Annual World Figure Eight Championship from the Indianapolis Speedrome. The command has been given here for the motors to be roared to life, and we are getting ready for the start of this 33rd Annual World Figure Eight Championship. Scott and the pageantry has happened. We are so excited about the command, about the beginning of this race.
Yeah, the drivers and teams down, we were just down there with them, Jonathan. A lot of nervous excitement down there as they're getting ready to get underway. They have to make it through the crossover almost 900 times tonight to take home the $20,000 big check. There's plenty of fast machines there on the grid, and we're ready to roll.
And here is tonight's starting lineup for the 33rd Annual World Figure Eight Championship. On the pole, his 9th in his career, the 6-time World Figure Eight champion, the 20 of Jack Dossie Jr. On the outside is the Rocket, Rodney Sizemore in the 51. In row number 2, 3-time World Figure Eight champion Bruce Tunney, and on the outside, 2009 late model runner-up, Ben Tunney. Row number 3. On the inside is the 2000 the two-time champion Curtis McMurtry in the 4T. On the outside, the 69 of R.J. Norton Jr., a former Jake's 150 winner. In the 4th row, on the inside, multiple champion down in the southern part of Indiana, Jeffersonville, Mark Harmon in the 35. And on the outside, the 2006 pole sitter, the 29 of Jeff Shackelford. On row number 5, the 07 champion, the World Figure 8 champion, Doug Regg. And on the outside is the 57, Jesse Tunney. Row number 6, the 21 is the big dog, Bobby Doutha, the 2001 World Figure 8 champion. And on the outside, Chris Harmon, son of the 84 champion, Ranch Harmon. Row number 7, the 77 of Donnie Garrigus III, and on the outside is the 88 World Figure 8 champion, number 9, Leonard Basham. Row number 8 on the inside, Tony Anderson in the defending World Figure 8 championship car. We'll talk more about that later. And on the outside, Michigan Playboy, the number 16 of Robbie Loving. Row number 9, Artie Beware in that 38 machine. And in the number 0, the 03 champion of Bill Tunney Jr., the Wild One. Row 10, the inside, Steve Frost in that 71 machine. And on the outside, the well-dressed man, the 24 of Larry Hahn. On the inside is the 11th row, the 48 of Speedy TP, stock champion in the past of the Speedrome, and DLB, the Wild Thing 71X of David Lee Bird. The 12th row is the 99 of Jerry Lee Ward, and on the outside, the 14 Speedrome veteran, Donnie Sloan. 13th row, R.J. Norton III, the highest starting rookie in this race, and on the outside, the C4 veteran, Calvin Crane. And row number 14, the 23 of Danny Smith, and the 55 of Michael Cherry, the NASCAR Drive for Diversity driver, in his first appearance in the World Figure 8 Championship. In the 15th row, Austin Tunney, the youngest Figure 8 winner in Speedrome history, and on the outside, the number 15 of Chad Sizemore. And on the final row, on the inside, is Wayne Calkins in that 14C, the Sonny Thompson Award winner from last year, and Speedrome veteran returning after long absence, the number 253 of Boyd Butcher. Scott and I, that's your starting lineup tonight. It's going to be a fantastic field as the cars move underway. We are just laps away from the green flag for tonight's event.
That's right. These guys are rolling off the starting grid right now, and they're really excited about this. They're just waiting for the green flag to fly. They want to get a few laps underneath them for those nerves to settle down, because that crossover is going to be crazy right off the bat. But they're focused on racing tonight. They've got all the pageantry out of the way, and they're now rolling off the starting grid. 32 cars are going to start tonight's main event, looking for the $20,000 first prize.
$20,000, the richest race, the richest prize in the Figure 8 in this country. And it's not the most we've ever paid. Back in a couple years, we've paid $25,000 and $30,000 in the past. And we just saw a big storyline right there. R.J. Norton Jr. heads to the pits before the first pace lap is complete.
That's right. They came off the grid, went down between turns 3 and 4, come down towards the starting line. The 69 made an abrupt left-hand turn and rolled its way into the pit area. I don't know what's going on. We're hoping it's something minor so RJ can get back. He's been waiting a long time to get back here into this race.
Perhaps a flat tire, perhaps. We don't know what that was. We'll see if he can get that repaired and make his way back onto the distance. We've got some fast facts here for you to talk about. We've got a lot of interesting things about this race. Again, it's a timed event. It's 3 hours in distance. It just happens to be a 3-hour event. We go the most laps in those 3 hours by any competitor. He's the winner. And in theory, you can not start the race and not finish this race and win this race.
That's right. It's the only race in the world of that type, that a driver that cannot actually be in the starting grid and not finish the last few minutes of the race win the event, because it is total laps, not a scheduled distance like most tracks have a 50 lap or a 25 lap main event. These guys are going to go somewhere between 450 and 500 laps tonight. They're going to need to make a pit stop for fuel, most likely 4 tires, and so pit work's going to be involved in tonight's race as well. So let's check out a few things.
Most World Figure 8 wins. Jack Dossie Jr., there you see on your screen, is a 6-time World Figure 8 champion. Kenny St. John has won 5, as R.J. Norton has come back on the track we see here. Wayne Arnold has won 3, the great Wayne Arnold, 3-time World Figure 8 champion. Also Mike St. John, and in the field tonight, the 3 wins of Bruce Tunney. He's in that 17 machine. We'll talk more about what's been developing in that family this past week.
Yeah, we see that R.J. Norton Jr. is back on the track. Whatever was his problem, he seems to have sorted out here tonight.
Former winners in the race, there are 7 of them. Jack Dossie Jr., Bruce Tunney, Bill Tunney Jr., Doug Craig, Leonard Basham,
Bill Tunney Jr. is also on the race tonight.
And there's one we missed, but there are 7 world champions in this grid right now. And R.J. Norton's trying to get his spot.
That's right. Whatever's gone on, hopefully they fixed. The big key now for RJ is to get himself settled back down, because whatever issue was, rattled him probably just a little bit. Now he's back in the starting grid, and he hopes to get a few more laps underneath him when the green flag flies and settle into a nice pace.
5 rookies in this race. There's 4 of them there you saw on this field. We've got R.J. Norton, the 3rd. He's starting in the highest position. Nigel Peters in the 03. Rick Gillespie Jr. will be in later on the 08. Michael Cherry in that 55, he's somebody to watch, as he performed very well back in Florida in the World Figure 8 Tour race we had at Auburndale.
Also on that screen, you saw Chad Sizemore. He originally tried to qualify in his stock machine last night, number 68, got into a wreck down there in turn 3 of the Figure 8. They've put him in the Steve Brown team car, late model tonight, number 15. So tonight, Chad Sizemore and his dad, Rodney, will actually be teammates.
All right, we are getting set. You can see the flag man preparing to show the field 1 to go. We're about a lap and a half away from the start of this event, the 33rd annual World Figure 8 Championship at the world's home of the Figure 8, the greatest Figure 8 race on the planet here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Jack Dossie Jr. and Rodney Sizemore side by side, and they look at flagman Michael Browning. He's not prepared to show him the field 1 to go. So we'll get some more heat in these tires. What are these drivers thinking right now, Scott and I?
Yeah, their anticipation level's at an all-time high, because this is a kid's birthday and Christmas all rolled into one, as these guys circle this date on their calendar each year, and they want to be world champion. That's all there is to it.
I've been telling folks that this is my 3rd favorite day of the year, as the field is starting to circulate a little bit faster, a little bit more speed. And they're going to be shown 1 to go this time by. 1 to go this time by. We'll be going green for the World Figure 8 Championship, and we'll light up the sky, as it's been said, over Indianapolis here on the southeast side of the city.
You've seen how close it was with these guys at the crossover just on the pace lap. Wait till this green flag flies, because you'll see all kinds of congestion there at the crossover.
Jack Dossie Jr. is trying to lead 94 laps tonight. He'll have led 2,000 laps in his career. He'll want to lead the last one. The green flag is out. This race is underway. As the field streams into your view on the bottom of the screen, it's Rodney Sizemore. He'll lead lap number 1. The 5 of Ben Tunney on the inside of Jack Dossie. He'll take the runner-up position, and here comes the crossover traffic right away. Wayne Calkins gets through, just barely, but Jack Dossie Jr., he'll scream back inside the 5 of Ben Tunney. There's Rodney Sizemore. He's got to make evasive maneuvers at the crossover already. Oh, Bruce Tunney almost gets taken out as well.
Rodney Sizemore, your leader, is a 2-time runner-up in this World Figure 8 Championship. His family's been racing out here for a long, long time. Rodney would love to put that trophy on the mantle tonight and call himself a world champion.
Rodney through the crossover, Jack falling behind him. 3rd place machine is the 5 of Ben Tunney. R.J. Norton Jr. in the 4th spot, and Bruce Tunney, he'll round out the top 5 as we are on lap number 3 of this event.
Yeah, it looks like whatever was going on with R.J. Norton Jr.'s car during the pace lap seems to have settled in, because he's tagging right there with the leaders. As we see Rodney cross the stripe one more time with pole sitter Jack Dossie Jr. right on his tail.
And the field streams through the south bend. Dossie now go on the outside. He'll make the pass. Jack Dossie Jr., the 6-time World Figure 8 champion, trying to lead his first lap in this 33rd annual event. And he will do as he crosses the stripe to complete lap number 5.
You see how things go with the Figure 8. The faster you go, the more you get into that traffic. Rodney had to hesitate, letting Jack roll through.
Top 5 unchanged here through the first 2 minutes of the event. But there's a huge crowd as the leaders get through the crossover just barely in front of Rodney. Oh, there's a pileup already in the intersection, and they get all through. Nobody has touched yet. It's totally amazing. We've gone through this event with 32 cars, and nobody has had a problem.
You see how it goes at the crossover. One guy hesitates a bit, and another guy has to hesitate for him. Oh!
The 4T of Curtis McMurtry big into the 71X of David Lee Bird. He'll too go to the pits, and so will David Lee Bird. A big side-by-side crash in the crossover. Not really actually a crossover T, and now Ben Tunney has had to stop in the crossover. He'll drop back to 5th position.
Yeah, you saw the 71X car, David Lee Bird, the man who's won the top finish in Stock Award 2 years in a row, have to stop at the crossover, and the 4T of McMurtry looked to get through the crossover and just clip the edge of David Lee Bird's car, tearing up suspension on the right front of that machine.
So that'll end the hopes of Curtis McMurtry of winning his 3rd World Figure 8 Championship. Meanwhile, back at the front, it's still Dossie and Sizemore. However, it looks like Mark Harmon is now in the 3rd position in the 35.
Yeah, and that traffic congestion trouble continues for Ben Tunney. Ben had to take a extra loop at the north end. He's now right in front of the leaders trying to stay on the lead lap. It's been nothing but trouble early on for Ben Tunney at the crossover.
And we see 10 laps have now been completed. Sizemore is going to stay right on the bumper of Dossie. Is that a good strategy, Scott and I?
Yeah, these two are going to try to force their way through traffic, and Rodney knows that Jack's going to drive this thing full tilt all the way to the end. So if he wants to stay in contention, he's going to try to stick with the pink number 20 car of 6-time champion Jack Dossie Jr.
Ben Tunney does not want to go a lap down early in this event. Oh, Wade Calkins! Where did he come from? And he barely avoids Jack Dossie Jr. way out of the crossover.
That's right. Even though you can make laps up in this event, you hate to lose one this early. Usually, oh, it's close at the crossover. You hate to lose one this early because it's so hard to get back later in the event.
12 laps of the event without a caution. Jack Shackelford, he gets right to the front of the 35 machine. He'll do an extra loop on the north end, but he'll keep Mark Harmon behind him in that 3rd position. R.J. Norton's right behind him.
That's right. You see Jack Dossie Jr. trying to carve his way through the heavy traffic. Amazingly, as we get near the 15-lap mark, we have not had a caution yet. 32 cars on the track. They're all charging through the crossover, and you see Dossie trying to put as many down a lap as he possibly can.
All right, Jack Dossie still trailing the 5 of Ben Tunney as Ben's going through this field as fast as he can to stay and try to put cars in between him and Jack Dossie Jr., hoping for a caution.
That's right, and he just needs to stay in front of that leader because he'll get to orbit himself all the way back around to the back of the field and hopefully get back to a better off start than he has before.
So let's update the top 3 as we see Jack Dossie Jr. earlier in the 20, the 51 of Rodney Sizemore in 3rd. Bruce Tunney is actually in the 3rd position now in that 17T. 4th place, the 35 of Mark Harmon. In the 5th place is R.J. Norton Jr. with 15 laps complete.
See Dossie once again on the back bumper of Ben Tunney. These two have raced all season long here at the Speedrome, both putting up several wins during the year, and Ben is just trying to recover from that early tough time. Jack's going to want to put him a lap down because he's a threat to win tonight. Jack wants to get him off the lead lap as soon as he can.
Oh, the Cousins! Oh, Mark Harmon gets spun out by Chad Sizemore in the crossover. And you saw Mark Harmon going backwards. Let's see if he can get that car fired again in the forward direction. But that was a close call between Cousins, as it looked like almost the 44 of Chris Harmon, the 35 Mark Harmon, almost got together in that crossover.
That's right. Mark had to turn just a little bit for an evasive maneuver and clip the front end of Chad Sizemore and spun himself around, but he's back going again.
And now Jack Dossie will get to the outside of Ben Tunney, but now Ben does go a lap down there, so Ben Tunney now 1 lap down. And he'll try to put down Ben's brother Jesse a lap down, as Dossie is behind that 57 machine of Jesse Tunney.
It's a heck of a pace Dossie's got going here at the start, but Rodney Sizemore's right there on his back bumper. These guys are going to try to put him down as fast as they can. Dossie's putting down some good cars here as we see the 33 of 2007 World Figure 8 champion Doug Gregg just ahead of him. Dossie's really mowing through this field. Him and Sizemore are hooked up.
Jack Dossie Jr. now trying to pick up where he left off last year. If you remember, Jack was had a very sizable advantage with about 43 minutes remaining in the 2008 event and met an untimely fate at the crossover with Calvin Crane, causing him a chance to miss out on his 7th World Figure 8 Championship. He's had memories of that, a bad taste in his mouth all year long, and 365 days later, he's here to avenge that narrow defeat. Race rules, 32 cars start this race. We had 16 rows of 2. There was a flying start. We had a lot of pace laps. And we also add alternates, non-stars into this race as the event goes, so you do not have to start this race, but you will get entered. As long as you're here, you'll be put into the race.
That's right. Everybody that comes to the Speedrome's World Figure 8 Championship. Oh!
Oh, we've got a wheel off the 57 machine of Gordon Brown. He was an alternate. He had just got put into the field, and we will probably have to go red, and yes, we do. Red flag at the track. Gordon Brown, I didn't see who hit him.
This was a very similar situation that we had with Curtis McMurtry. The 71X of David Lee Bird was stalled at the crossover. The 57 of Gordon Brown, who's making his return to racing tonight, just clipped the left rear corner of Bird's machine, tore the right front wheel completely off the car, and we've come down to red tonight. We don't want one of those guys to hit that wheel and knock it all around. It could be dangerous out there.
All through the excitement, we did miss a pass on lap 22 of Bruce Tunney passing Rodney Sizemore through all the calamity that happened. We'll do a quick reset here, get the track cleaned up, and we'll be right back right after this. This is the 33rd Annual World Figure 8 Championship at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Welcome back to the World Figure 8 Championship, the 33rd annual event here at the home of the World Figure 8, the Indianapolis Speedrome, alongside Speedrome News Director Scott Nye. I'm Jonathan Bird. After a big hard crash in the crossover that was going to be shown right here on your screen, you see David Lee Bird. He was backing up, and Gordon Brown in that 57 had his right front knocked off. So that's the reason for the red flag, the first red flag of this event. And we are getting the field sorted back out for a restart here with 7 minutes and 37 seconds complete and 22 laps complete. Jack Dossie Jr., Rodney Sizemore, and Bruce Tunney, the top 3. Again, with the race rules, we start with 32 cars, and we started them 2 rows of 16. It's the most incredible flying start in racing, second only to that of the Indianapolis 500, in my opinion. And again, the alternate non-starters can enter the race whenever a starting car goes out of the race, and we know that a few of them will start coming in now, as Gordon Brown was one of those alternates. It's a 3-hour timed event. The winner is determined by the car that completes the most laps in a 3-hour time period. So we'll get this field continue to get the restart order put together here. And Scott, I mean, that was a pretty well orchestrated and controlled first 22 laps. It seemed like the drivers wanted to take care of business, knowing that they'd have to get to the crossover more and just to turn some laps here and get kind of strung out.
That's right. Controlled chaos is kind of what it is. These guys were charging through that crossover. Dossie goes pit side, Jonathan, as we're talking about that.
Wow, that's a very early pit stop for Jack Dossie Jr. I'm guessing a very unscheduled, perhaps a flat tire hitting some debris and maybe putting a tire down. And while it's red, that's a pretty good. It's a pretty good time to hit the pits is in a red flag.
Yeah, if he is unlucky enough to have a flat tire or something minor, this is a perfect timing for it. He could get in there during the red while the clock's not running and lose any laps. But normally these guys try to go to about halfway, maybe a little after, run 250 laps before they got to pit for fuel. So Dossie's taking this chance to head for the pit side. We'll see what happens with that.
And we'll, as we are red right now, we will kind of give you an update. With 22 laps complete, this is very unofficial. Jack Dossie Jr. was your leader. Rodney Sizemore, Bruce Tunney, R.J. Norton Jr., and Mark Harmon were your top 5. We'll continue down to big dog Bobby Douthit in 6th place unofficially. Chris Harmon in 7th. Calvin Crane in the C4 in 8th. Leonard Basham in 9th. Artie Ware in 10th. The last car in the lead lap shown right now is the Outlaw, Jesse Tunney, with Tony Anderson, Ben Tunney, Bill Tunney, Danny Smith, Michael Cherry, Wayne Calkins, Robbie Loving, and Doug Gregg, all 1 lap down. And ladies and gentlemen, you know that the best website in the world, the record-setting website, Speedrome.com. You'll get all the racing results and pictures with so much historical information, a whole lot more last night, the Friday night of Jonathan Burt Sizzling 6, over 1 million hits on Speedrome.com, and we all most likely going to have over 2 million hits tonight when it's all said and done. The whole world logging on to Speedrome.com.
That's right. Fans of figure 8 racing have been here before, live around the country, keep right up to date with all the live stats, pictures, race information on Speedrome.com.
And you can relive all the excitement of the 33rd Annual World Figure 8 Championship with the official DVD. Go to Speedrome.com, or you can charge by phone by calling 353-8206 at only $20 and $4 shipping and handling.
That's right. You want to keep that in your library forever. All the exciting action, and we've already seen some great stuff already in just these 22 laps already put on the board.
All right, the yellow flag has been redisplayed. The cars are starting to move again. Rodney Sizemore now will be your leader as he has passed Jack Dawsey Jr., who's in the pits. Now, the pits will not open again until the field goes to the end. So anybody who was in the pits will have to fill in the back of the field.
Yeah, and that's one of the first dramatic moments of this race, is to look over at that pit gate and to see if the pink number 20 gets back out here before we get underway. Because if he can get back to the starting field, stay on the lead lap, he still would be in contention for this race.
So 5 different states competing in this 2009 World Figure 8 from all across this country. And we are so proud to have them all here. As the field starts to make a little bit more speed, we look to the flag stand for a green flag. We do not get it, as Bruce Tunney gets a little excited.
That's right. The front of this field looks a little different now with the 20 car not up there. We have 3-time World Figure 8 champion Bruce Tunney up there alongside Rodney Sizemore, who has led several laps in this early event.
And we do have to state that the rule is, after a red flag, the pits will not open until the green flag is displayed. If it was still a running yellow and they made a pit stop, they could probably get on back onto the track at the end of the field during yellow flag conditions.
That's right. When that green waves and they hit that start-finish line, the clock will begin to roll once again, and the laps will begin to count. So if Dawsey can get out before that green flag, or when that green flag arrives, he'll still be on the lead lap, just at the tail end of the lead lap, maybe avoiding disaster early on by hitting the pit.
Now, we saw Speedy Teepee getting pushed off, one of the contenders for that $5,000 Kinney's Auto Sales Top Stalker Award. So he'll head to the pit area to get that machine back in working order.
Yes, and this is the first time that the award's going to be $5,000. The past 2 years it's been $1,000, and it's been won by David Lee Bird, who we've already seen have some misfortune tonight.
That green flag is out. We are back underway at the 33rd World Figure 8 Championship. It's Rodney Sizemore leading the field to the green.
That's right. Now we look to see if Jack Dawsey can join the field again. We see a few cars come out, including the number 20 of Jack Dawsey Jr.
But all those cars are going to have to wait for all this crossover traffic, and here comes the leaders. He's going to put Jack Dawsey Jr., Tony Anderson, Steve Frost, Boyd Butcher lap down, as Doug Gregg was the only one to get back out around and not go a lap down.
That's right. His team seemed to have completed the pit work in time, but there was 4 or 5 other cars waiting to get out the pit.
Oh, and Doug barely gets to the crossover. Leonard Basham made drastic maneuvers, and everybody gets through, but that was crazy for Doug Gregg, as he's going to have a whole slew, and we are back under caution. The yellow flag is out. I don't see exactly why we are under caution, but we are, with 8 minutes and 30 seconds complete, lap 24. The caution is out again here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. And now I see why. There was a big piece of debris as the track official fetches that off there. So that was a pretty big piece of debris. So we'll stand by for a pretty quick restart here.
Yeah, Rodney Sizemore had gotten the jump right there on Bruce Tunney and taken off the lead. And as we talked about, Jack went 1 lap down in that deal. He's bunched up with the pack. Let's see if Dawsey could carve his way back up to these guys. He's just hanging on, running.
Yeah, Jack's in the 12th position. He is now 1 lap down to the leader. So let's go through the top 5 again. So Rodney Sizemore, Bruce Tunney, the 17. Mark Harmon is now 3rd. 4th place, 69, R.J. Norton. And 5th place, Bobby Dawson. The green flag flies again. We're back underway. Rodney Sizemore, Bruce Tunney battle into turn number 1. Ben Tunney now just behind those two. He is a lap down behind his uncle, as he's trying to get back on the lead lap after that early misfortune.
That's right, he seems to have gotten his feet back under him here. He's running right with the leaders.
And I think Doug Gregg has a flat tire. He does, a flat left front, so another pit stop for the 07 world champion.
Yeah, he's had some bad luck here in the last minute or so. He's had to barely cut through that crossover and make it. Now he's pit side.
Side by side, Bruce Tunney gone on the outside of Rodney Sizemore, the Rocket, there for just a moment. Now Ben is on the outside of Uncle Bruce in the 17, trying to push his way up. Here comes Mark Harmon to join the battle.
Yeah, this is the first time, Mark's been in the top 5 for most of the race, but this is the first time we've seen him right up with the leaders. The Louisville, Kentucky driver, who's won several championships in the Speedrome Speedway, is right there on the back bumper. He's a former race runner-up and a third-place finisher.
Robbie Loving had to do a loop-de-loop to avoid Jack Dossie Jr. there at the south end, so he'll go a lap down. But it's Rodney Sizemore. Rodney, he's completed 400 laps. Oh, Mark Harmon had to make a big stop to avoid Jesse Tunney, the crossover. Wayne Calkins and RJ the third almost have a problem there at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, it looked like the Harmon and Jesse Tunney both decided to go, then stop, and bounce.
Oh, big crash in the crossover. It was Chad Sizemore into the back of the 42 of Tony Anderson. Calvin Crane was involved in that. Now Mark Harmon has stopped at the crossover. Chad Sizemore trying to move. We're under caution, but Mark Harmon needs to get out of the way so he does not lose any more positions, as he's already now a half lap behind the leaders. And there's a lot of fluid underneath that 15 machine of Chad Sizemore, as we are under caution with 11 minutes and 20 seconds complete and 31 laps on the board.
That's right. Sizemore looks like he's knocked the radiator out of it, damaged the front suspension there. Mark Harmon didn't receive much damage in that. He kind of slid into it in the late going, hitting him square with the front bumper, but you can see the 15 car is damaged and possibly done for the night.
Chad Sizemore getting the turn about 30 laps in that machine. He had just got that ride earlier this afternoon.
That's right.
The
first lap he took in it was in qualifying, and he went in tonight as a rookie. You see the replay.
Hell, Harmon just kind of gives him a love tap right there at the crossover. That was the third place runner at that moment.
Chad was looking to become the top rookie in tonight's race and was real excited about being a teammate to his dad in the World Figure 8 Championship here tonight, but it looks like he may be done for the evening.
Yep, once some miraculous repairs get made. And there's a lot of time, and we've got 2 hours and 47 minutes remaining. And if it's maybe not so bad, they'll get that worked on some, and to get him some laps, because there's nothing like valuable experience turning laps in the World Figure 8 Championship for the future.
That's right. We see drivers come in here to this race, even though they've got a resume full of championships and race victories around the country. This race is different than any other in the world, and it's a whole different skill set to get used to it. As we see right behind the leaders, the 55 of Michael Cherry. He's a guy that's got great skills. He's won a lot of races here, but he's really gaining some valuable experience tonight racing with these world champions.
I was speaking with Michael earlier this evening before driver introductions, and he kind of getting some advice from, me and one of mine, just a chicken cook from Greenwood, but he's like, I just want to turn laps, get experience, and you never know if he can get 400 laps or so to make this happen. I think we've got the replay of this crash here again. We'll see it come up onto the screen. Tony Anderson was already stopped at the crossover, and then Chad Sizemore obviously did not see him.
Yeah, it looked like that Chad and the C4 of Calvin Crane were looking to avoid each other, and Chad must have been looking left there and caught the back of the 42 of Anderson, knocking the front end off that car, and we saw earlier the 35 of Mark Harmon slide into that car.
So Rodney Sizemore is still your leader. Bruce Tunney, Leonard Basham is in third place now, unofficially. Bobby Douthit in fourth, RJ Norton in fifth, Chris Harmon in the sixth position. Artie Ware, a good run, staying on the lead lap in seventh. Jesse Tunney has moved up to eighth. He was the 2008 runner-up in this event. And Mark Harmon is the last car on the lead lap. The top 9 cars on the lead lap with 33 laps complete in this event.
It's great to see Leonard Basham up there, the 1988 World Figure 8 champion. Looked like he was going to hang his helmet up last year as he talked about retirement, and came home third place finisher in this World Figure 8 championship. And the guys working on the car said, let's go one more year and see how it goes. And as you can see, Leonard still can get it done 21 years after he won the race.
So the top 2 cars run side by side, and then that third place machine of Leonard Basham is about 10 cars back, about 5 rows back on this restart order. The pace truck is starting to make its way off the field, so Michael Browning has probably shown the field 1 to go.
Something else we saw, that long red flag there, gave the crew of the 4T of Curtis McMurtry a chance to fix that car, and he's been out here the last several laps. Curtis McMurtry back in action.
Green flag flies. We're back underway at the 33rd World Figure 8 Championship. It's Bruce Tunney and Rodney Sizemore, and a big crash on the back stretch. Coming out of the 4th corner, Wayne Calkins is sideways. He'll get the car back moving, and we are all green around this track.
Yeah, this race for the lead between these two is a reliving of the 2000 World Figure 8 Championship, where these two battled all the way to the finish, with Bruce getting the nod over the second place runner that night, Rodney Sizemore.
Rodney Sizemore, the 51 machine, already starting to show. It seems like every year this machine starts to maybe show a little signs of a scrape going into the first corner. I saw sparks just a moment ago as he went into the first turn.
That could be a little sign of good luck, because last year, remember, the last hour and a half, we saw those same sparks from our race-winning car, Fred Bear. We thought it was trouble, but he took it all the way to victory lane.
We were just getting ready to talk about, before all the mayhem, about Rodney Sizemore having completed 400 laps 7 times, and that 400 lap club is a very prestigious honor, as Rodney Sizemore turned many, many laps in this event. He just wants to turn the lap while leading that very last one and have his first World Figure 8 Championship.
That's right. Those 400 laps are sort of a badge of honor in this race. Not a lot of guys have done it, and Rodney's done it more times than any other driver in World Figure 8 history.
You see on your screen in the upper right-hand corner, that's the time clock, the official timer heading down, and the unofficial running order of the top 3 and lap completed as well. 51, Rodney Sizemore. 17, Bruce Tunney, and 21, the big dog now is Bobby Douthat.
You saw how congested the track was right there. Rodney Sizemore and Bruce Tunney almost came to a stop there coming off turn 2, because there was so much mayhem going on that they were trying to tiptoe their way through there, keep the wheels clean, and keep putting down some laps, because if you knock a wheel off, you're having a heck of a time to get to victory lane.
Oh, Douthat almost gets taken out of the crossover. He is just a few car lengths behind the first 2 runners of Sizemore and Tunney.
You saw the 55 of Michael Cherry and the 44 of Chris Harmon almost come to blows there, but Harmon takes evasive maneuvers and makes an extra southbound loop, losing a lap but keeping himself.
And we are back under caution now, I believe, maybe for the 99 machine of Jerry Lee Ward, who is not moving at the crossover there. So we're back under caution with 43 laps completed at 2 hours and 42 minutes remaining in this event.
Jerry Lee Ward was kind of the underdog surprise of last evening's qualifying races. Jerry snuck in a qualifying spot, locked in starting field spot in the second championship qualifying race in that 99. Ward is the only man to win the race's 2 biggest awards, Sonny Eaton Memorial Award for Top Rookie, Sonny Thompson Award for Best Improvement Position, all in the same year, 1996.
Well, 18 minutes have been completed. And what have you seen so far now? Is there a pattern starting to emerge of this event now, Scott?
Yeah, the 2 leaders, whether it was Dawsey and Sizemore and now Bruce Tunney and Sizemore, have separated themselves a little bit from the other runners in the top 5, trying to carve their way through traffic, being careful to cross over, but still having to put the power down and get through. But the traffic is just so heavy early on in this event.
All right. Jerry Lee Ward pushed off the course. The pace truck will lead the field back through the south end one more time. And we have 8 cars unofficially on the lead laps. Rodney Sizemore, Bruce Tunney, the big dog, Bobby Douthat, Leonard Basham in 4th now, Chris Harmon in 5th, R.J. Norton in 6th, Mark Harmon in 7th, and Artie Ware in 8th. If you're wondering about Jack Dawsey Jr., he has made it back into the top 10. He is now right behind Jesse Tunney, who's running in 9th. And so those gentlemen will want to just keep burning and make their way back up to the field as fast as possible, as Bob Johnson now has entered the fray as another alternate.
That's right. The alternates list is something different than regular racing. All the guys that came here tonight, took a qualifying time, will be in the alternates line, and they're added on, as we talked about earlier, every time somebody heads pit side. And with that addition of Bob Johnson, 7 alternates have been added onto this race. And at the same time, the guys that go off can come back on.
All right, green flag is flying once again, and it's Sizemore and Tunney side by side. They'll have to split Bob Johnson, and I think that might give the advantage to Bruce Tunney in the corner number 1. It's Bruce Tunney taking the lead, our third lead change of the evening. Bruce Tunney leads again at the World Figure 8 Championship.
Bruce is the third different leader so far tonight. It's a pretty talented class of people up top there as Bruce leads his first laps in tonight's World Figure 8.
It's the 16th race in the World Figure 8 Championship that he has led. The man has turned and led 1,616 laps. If he turns enough, he will move into, if he leads 9 laps, he'll move into second all time, right behind Jack Dawson Jr. and in front of Wayne Arnold.
Wow, that's a heck of a list there for the World Figure 8.
Bruce Tunney, Rodney Sizemore, the big dog Bobby Douthit, your top 3 so far with 49 laps, and we're coming upon the 50th lap of this event.
Yeah, that's an interesting situation. Bruce is in a car that's familiar to him. He won a lot of big races in it, including this World Figure 8 Championship all 3 times. He turned that car over to his son Mark a few years ago. Mark won the Speedrome Championship this year, but unfortunately an injury has put Bruce back in this ride tonight.
Oh, Jeff Shackelford gets nipped at the crossover. But Tunney will keep going through the south end and complete another lap. Sizemore's going to stay right with him. I think that's a good strategy on Rodney Sizemore. He's going to let the leader make the big gamble through the crossover every time.
That's right. They put a heck of a distance on the third place 21 of Bobby Douthit, and now Leonard Basham is up side by side with Bobby Douthit.
Oh, and the crossover, Sizemore hits Bob Johnson, but he keeps going. That's a lucky break for the second place runner.
Yeah, it looked like Johnson come to a stop in front of the leader. Rodney saw it at the last second and hit him square, so he hit him right in the front bumper and didn't tear up much on Rodney's car, but it definitely slowed his pace.
And now the north end of the track, there's a big puff of smoke. Leonard Basham is stopped on the track, and the leaders get by him, so Leonard Basham, after being as high as third, now goes a lap down to the leaders.
That's right, and this has let Bruce Tunney get a nice little gap on these guys as Basham gets back underway. We saw a lot of smoke down there. We don't know if he got turned around or what, but he's back underway now.
Heavy crossover traffic for the 17 machine of Bruce Tunney as we now see
at the crossover
hit again. Bob Johnson involved with Leonard Basham again. So it seems like the magnet for this year's race, there was one last year, I can't remember who that was, but it seemed like every time there was a problem, there was just one search. Oh no, Wade Calkins hit Leonard Basham, and Sizemore hits Calkins in the crossover, and now Rodney Sizemore is stalled. Can he get the machine moving? He does, but the caution is out now. So with 56 laps complete in the 2 hour and 37 minute of this event. Wow, lots of amazing things. Rodney Sizemore, you know, we were talking about maybe if he was to stay behind the 17 machine, but he got totally blown away by the 17 of Bruce Tunney. And then a lot of calamities start happening to the 51 machine of Rodney Sizemore.
Yeah, that was just a classic chain reaction deal at the crossover. The 93 of Bob Johnson stopped for the heavy traffic. He saw contact from the 14C of Wayne Calkins. Calkins then received contact from Sizemore. Leonard Basham was involved in that as well. All 3 cars were banged up. Basham continued, Sizemore continued. Here comes the replay.
And on the, we saw Jerry Lee Ward just get pushed off, but there was the big first hit by Basham onto Johnson. It looks like the right front. Is it bad or good? Is he still going?
He's still on the track, and that looks for Calkins to come in.
It looked like a square, but then here comes Wayne Calkins into your screen in just a second, or he would have, and he's still moving. So no harm, no foul, apparently, other than the fact that Rodney Sizemore is perhaps...
Yeah, it looks like the only car we lost in that deal was Johnson in the 93.
That's right. All right, so field is under green once again. It's Bruce Tunney, your leader, second place. Could it be the R.J. Norton machine at 69, but there's Jack Dawsey Jr. working, ready to get his lap back.
That's right. This is an interesting point to see if Jack can get back on the lead lap. He's going to fight tooth and nail with Bruce Tunney because he knows getting back on the lead lap early can get himself solid footing going into this rest of the first hour of
and
this
Jack's
race.
Strong enough that once he could get back around and there'd be a caution, as he almost got on the side of Bruce Tunney there, he will pass all these lap cars pretty quickly and then be in contention for a race lead and even a race win yet again.
That's right, and Bruce is not going to do anything dirty to try to keep him back, but he sure as heck would like to see him stay behind one lap down to keep a little bit of comfort in that 17T machine.
Unofficially, Bruce Tunney, Rodney Sizemore, R.J. Norton, your top 3 So perhaps Rodney got to stay on the lead lap, and then RJ's right behind him now.
That's right. Since he was one of the last cars involved in that wreck, the caution was already coming out, so Rodney, the caution helped him from going one lap down.
While Bill Tunney Jr. made a spin out there on the north end, he's got his machine back underway, and he'll stop at the crossover and go a lap down. 17. Bruce Tunney, the three-time World Figure 8 champion, your leader. Running strong, and like you said, this very familiar machine. This machine has been a very strong car all year long. In fact, I think you mentioned it, his son Mark Tunney won the 2009 late model championship here in the Jiffy Lube late model division here at the Speedrome.
That's right. Bruce has been on a limited schedule this year, and when Mark wasn't able to go this weekend, Bruce got back in the car.
Jock Dossie Jr. and Mark Harmon almost hit the crossover. So do Chip Shackelford and Danny Smith. Pretty crazy action there. Mark Harmon running in the 6th position. Still in the lead lap, though. 64 laps complete, coming up on lap 65 complete. You'll get through the crossover right there.
We've had a change for second position, Jonathan. Bobby Douthit, the 2001 World Figure 8 champion, has gotten around Rodney. I don't know if it was from traffic or maybe Rodney did suffer some damage in that. We'll have to keep an eye out over the next few minutes.
Perhaps the handling of that machine is starting to suffer, as you can't take that big a hit 1, 2, 3 times and not really affect the handling of this car, even though these cars are very well built, they're very safely built, but still they are racing machines.
That's correct.
But Sizemore stays right on these outside, going through the north end. Their best battle on the track right now is for second position between Douthit and Sizemore, going into turn number 1. And there's Dossie right on the tail still of Bruce Tunney. This is a very, very familiar scene. We've seen many years throughout the racing here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Tunney and Dossie.
That's right. These guys have won track championships, world championships, numerous races here. They've raced each other tooth and nail for many years out here.
There's 11 track championships and 9 World Figure 8 championships between the two of them.
That's right.
Big crossover traffic there. Robbie Loving now in your picture going in the inside as he goes down a lap to Dossie and Tunney.
I just took a quick count, Jonathan. It looks like there's about 28 cars on the track right now as we near the half-hour point in this race. Still lots of congestion early on. Plenty of guys having some minor skirmishes, but most keep on going.
There's Bobby Douthit, the big dog, on your screen right now. He has started to pull away from the 51 of Rodney Sizemore, so he's safely in the runner-up position. His first year back at the World Figure 8 Championship in quite a few years.
That's right. 2004 was his last start in this event. Bobby was a little nervous coming into tonight since he hasn't went this long of a distance in a while, but so far so good for Bobby Douthit.
And also Michael Cherry behind him. Oh, Douthit almost. Oh, there's the leader. He's taken out of the front stretch. Bruce Tunney out of this event. R.J. Norton a third in him as well. And Jack Dossie Jr. now back on the lead lap. But at the bottom of your screen, and there you see it, a broken right front suspension on the 17 of Bruce Tunney. His chances of winning the 33rd event and his 4th seem to maybe be over.
Yeah, it looks like that Douthit and Bruce Tunney were getting real close at the crossover. The first and second place drivers, as we're going to see on the replay, looked like they were trying to avoid each other, and 3 of R.J. the third come in and made contact.
Well, he made the maneuvers to Douthit, and then there was the Hearn machine as well, and that was a pretty just nothing he could do about that.
Yeah, those two, it was a lot different than we thought. Douthit and Bruce Tunney almost run into each other, and R.J. the third made a strange loop there at the crossover, turned right back into Tunney.
Well, this is very interesting to watch
out.
Jack Dossie Jr. try to push his car owner mates, because they have the same car owner, with Ed Bishop, trying to push Bruce, but Bruce could not get it refired. Now, Jack gets back going because he knows he got his lap back and he'll get back in line, and he's only about halfway through the field to get back to the front.
Yeah, and some nice teamwork there, some sportsmanship from Dossie, but at that same time, during that wreck, Dossie got back, I think, on the lead lap because he was racing right there with Bruce Tunney when the crash occurred.
So I think we're going to give the lead to the 21 of Bobby Douthat. So the big dog, Bobby Douthat, at one time the richest figure 8 racer on the planet until when he won $25,000 back in 2001, until Curtis McMurtry won $30,000 in the 30th annual event. He is now leading laps here at the World Figure 8 Championship.
That's right. As we mentioned earlier, Bobby hasn't been in this race for 5 years. Now he's back in it. A little nervous about tonight, and here he is 30 minutes in leading the race.
Well, we'll get the 17 machine of Bruce Tunney cleared, and we'll take a quick time out here. This is the 33rd annual World Figure 8 Championship from the Indianapolis Speedrome. Going to the pit. Car has pulled off. We're back at the World Figure 8 Championship alongside Scott and I am Jonathan Bird. The cars start rolling back to life. The green flag flies yet again. It's Bobby Douthat and Rodney Sizemore. And Sizemore, he'll take over the position. So Rodney Sizemore, another lead change. He'll be back in front after all the calamities he suffered just about 10 laps ago.
That's right. It seemed like he had some misfortune when he got banged up at the crossover, but it came right back to him when Bruce Tunney got caught in that wreck. Now he's elevated himself back up front.
This is the 8th race that Rodney Sizemore has led in his career in the World Figure 8 Championship.
Douthat goes back down to the inside there looking for the lead. These two race side by side as Sizemore tries to get the advantage as we head towards the line.
But Douthat wants his lead too. They went side by side, too close to call off the stripe. Sizemore has the inside advantage. There's Mark Harmon, who's just right behind that battle.
Two Speedrome track champions up there racing with the Jeffersonville Sportsdrome champion Mark Harmon, and they're going to battle right here for the lead, down and dirty.
So Rodney Sizemore, your leader, 79 laps complete here. Bobby Douthat, Mark Harmon in 3rd, Chris Harmon in 4th, and RJ still running in the 5th position. This is about RJ's best run in the first half hour of an event here the past few years.
That's right. RJ has an all-for-nothing type of style where he's either going to try to win the race or get caught up into something. He's not being patient whatsoever.
Crossover again for the leaders as they make evasive maneuvers. Tony Anderson hits Jeff Armour and breaks his radiator, and Tony Anderson is stopped at the crossover, and the whole field gets by him. Can he get the car refired?
It looked like Anderson was just being patient going through the crossover, and the 16 of Armour just turned right in front of him and knocked the radiator out of the 16 of Armour.
Anderson still stopped in that reigning world championship car. Oh, how did anywhere not hit him? And now the caution finally comes down, and Dossie hits the pits. Dossie hits the pits, and after getting the lead, back on the lead lap.
That's a strange situation there, Jonathan. Not only do we see him go to the pits early, he's in again now, and it's way, way, way too early for fuel or tires. Wonder if there's another issue going on with the Dossie car, because as you stated, he just fought his way back onto the lead lap. Now he's going to lose it once again here pit side.
Well, the caution allows the field to bunch back up again. Now Mark Harmon will be right on the bumper of the two leaders on the next restart.
Yeah, the caution flag is going to minimize his damage of going in the pits, but he's definitely went one lap down here. Could be more coming up, depending on what the issue is.
So Dossie drops a lap right there as the field goes back by the north end where the pit area is located. So very, very interesting things happening. This has been a very wild World Figure 8 Championship. There are still at least 5 cars in the lead lap. And as the field cycles across the stripe, we'll update that again. Again, fans, you can remember Speedrome.com is the information source for all things Speedrome. Make sure you log on to the best racing website in the world. It's Speedrome.com. All right, the field has all gotten past the start-finish line. We'll give you an unofficial running order. The top 5 cars on the lead lap. It's the 51, Rodney Sizemore. Second place, the 21 of Bobby Douthat. Third place, the 35 of Mark Harmon. Fourth place, the 69 of R.J. Norton Jr. And fifth place, the 44 machine of Chris Harmon. That's your unofficial top 5 with 83 laps complete and 35 minutes and 50 seconds complete.
Yeah, those 5 drivers, all championship level guys from around the Midwest, having titles underneath their belts in the figure 8 divisions at several tracks, but only Bobby Douthat is a world champion of those 5. So we have 4 guys up front at this stage of the event looking to add that first World Figure 8 championship to their resume.
Still no sign of the 20 machine of Dossie, so he goes down yet another lap, and will we see him before the restart? The pace car has pulled off, and we'll get ready for another restart.
Yeah, I'm anxious to find out what went wrong with Dossie there, because it didn't look like he received any damage in any situation. Just off the track, has to be something he thought was going wrong.
Green flag out again. Sizemore takes the advantage going through the north end. It's Rodney Sizemore in lap 85 with the lead. Second place, the big dog, Bobby Douthit. And third place, the 35 of Mark Harmon. And still no Dossie. So something very, very wrong with the number 20 machine of Jack Dossie Jr. if he's not been able to make it back before the green flag comes out.
Yeah, definitely a big issue, because as we talked about earlier, guys can lose a lap here and there and make it up over pit strategy or just straight speed. But you lose a handful of those laps, you really need a lot of things to come into play to put yourself right back into contention.
Well, let's get things kind of sorted out here and kind of think about where we are now. We have completed about 38 minutes of this race. Another hour or so maybe before pit stops, don't you think, Scott Nye?
That's right. Usually guys aim for the halfway mark or just past to go in and fuel up and maybe put 2 or 4 tires on as a strategy move for the late stages of the event.
Interesting on the score timing and scoring, Wild Bill Tunney Jr. is the first car 1 lap down in the 6th place. So Wild Bill Tunney Jr. turning the most laps he's turned in a couple of years.
That's right. Bill's been concentrating on his 3 sons who race here at this Speedrome, all winning figure 8 features this year. Bill even talked about maybe not even running after last night, letting his son Austin get in the car. But Bill, so far, so good, running up there in the top 10. Has done a lot in his career.
Oh, and at the south end, we see Michael Cherry's motor blow up. We saw the 55 machine of Michael. Hey, he's on fire on the backstretch. A big fire on the backstretch for the 55 machine of Michael Cherry. And we are red at the Speedrome for the fire of the 55 expired motor of Michael Cherry.
That's right. We caught a glimpse of it there in turn two. The steam coming out of the 55. He pulled it over to the backstretch as things were going wrong, and we saw the flames flare up there out of the hood.
And the IRL safety team makes its way over to put out that fire of the 55 of Michael Cherry. It was a great run for him. Unfortunately, it comes to an end with a motor that's been blown, and he was running in the 9th position, a top 10 run for the Gainesville, South Carolina native.
That's right. We talked about earlier, he just wanted to get some good experience in it tonight, and even though he was a lap or 2 off the pace, he was hanging right there with the leaders, and Michael Cherry definitely has showed the skills that he could drive a race car.
So we'll get that car cleaned up, and let's kind of give you a rundown. At lap number 90, 2 hours and 21 minutes remaining in this race, Rodney Sizemore took the lead back as we were focusing on the fire of Michael Cherry. So give Rodney Sizemore back the lead, another lead change in this event. Second place, the big dog Bobby Douthit in the 21. Mark Harmon now in third, still in third place in the 35. R.J. Norton Jr. now up to the 4th spot in the 69 machine. And in 5th place, Chris Harmon in the 44. And 1 lap down is Bill Tunney and his son Jesse Tunney. So good runs for the Tunney boys there in the 6th and 7th position. And we remember folks, Speedrome.com, racing results and pictures. So much historical information at this facility that was built in 1941. A whole lot more. All the pictures for tonight. Join the record-setting website that is Speedrome.com. We'll get over 2 million hits after this event for 2009 33rd Annual World Figure 8 Championship, the greatest figure 8 race on the planet. And when Harmon is one of those 2 outsiders, we like to call them. That last name Harmon was a winner of this event back in 1986.
That's right, and Chris Harmon is having a great season already when he comes into here. He is leading the points down at the Jeffersonville Sportsdrome when this race is ran, and Chris is going for some history tonight. He has won a 1-hour figure 8 this year, a 2-hour figure 8 this year, and this race being 3 hours would make one heck of a trifecta on a season resume.
All right, the cars are back underway under the caution. We've gone back to lap 89. We also just saw streaking across the track the 20 of Jack Dossie Jr. Jack Dossie Jr. is 9 laps down here on lap 89 as we go back 1 lap after the red flag. The green flag back out again. We're back underway. It's Rodney Sizemore, the 21 of Bobby Douthit, and the 35 of Mark Harmon.
That's right. Dossie's lost a bunch of laps, but it could have been a lot worse. That red flag saved probably about 10 laps more that he would have been down. Additionally to the 90s down now.
So what's the biggest gap that Jack had made up back in the days when he won one of his championships?
When he was on his streak, he won 6 of the 7 World Figure 8s during that stretch. And at one time, he was down 6 laps in one event and came home winner.
Oh, Doug Gregg, I don't know how he missed R.J. Norton the third, but he did through the crossover. And the leader almost gets taken out by Robbie Loving there, you saw on your screen.
Yeah, the 2007 World Figure 8 champion Doug Gregg has had a tough road to hoe here tonight, involved in some crossover action all over the place.
7 laps down as we see the 86 machine of Johnny Bird make the street. Dossie stopped at the crossover for all that traffic, and he'll lose another lap to the leaders as they streak by him going into turn number 1.
Yeah, whatever's going on with the pink number 20,
it's
just
not
really
the same machine as it was earlier in the event.
That's right, and it's really gotten him off his rhythm. Whatever damage is going on, he's going to try to pick up the pace, but it's just not going to be Jack Dossie's night.
Rodney Sizemore, Douthit, and Harmon, they all run 1, 2, 3. Oh, Harmon bounces off 2 cars. He spins out Boyd Butcher in the south end as he bounced off the 3 machine of R.J. Norton the third, but everybody gets going again.
Yeah, the luck still seems to be going good for Mark Harmon. That's the 3rd car he's made contact with, but so far hadn't slowed his pace much.
I think Leonard Bastian, that was the way last year, and he came up with a top 5 run last year.
That's right.
Oh, and here he goes side by side. Douthit on the inside. He gets the position from Sizemore. Sizemore tries to battle back on the outside, but it's nothing doing. Give the lead back to the big dog in the 21 on lap number 95.
Yeah, Bobby's liking that time at the front. He's charged into heavy traffic there in turn 3, made the move on Rodney Sizemore, took the lead.
So top 3, Bobby Douthit, Rodney Sizemore, Mark Harmon. And 4th place, R.J. Norton Jr. He's still running strong. Chris Harmon in 5th, Bill Tunney 1 lap down in the 6th position in this first race of 2009.
That's right, it's real neat.
Second race, I'm sorry, he raced in the Phil Tunney Memorial Race. And we're cautioned, Jesse Tunney in the north end. At the north end of the track, Jesse Tunney has stopped with 96 laps complete. And he was running in the 7th position. Now Jesse Tunney, his hopes of making 1 spot better from last year's event seem to have ended now.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened there, Jonathan, but he's still stalled, and it looks like there may be some damage on the left front. His left front wheel's in a weird angle there. I can't tell if the wheels are just turned or he's received some damage, but he's definitely not moving down there.
57, Jesse Tunney, the reason for the caution on the north end of the track. Jesse Tunney, sponsored by Jonathan Bird's Cafeteria and Residential Deck and Fencing, after winning $5,000 in his runner-up spot in his 2nd World Figure 8 champ, or his 3rd World Figure 8 championship last year. It seems like his night will end on the end on the hook.
That's right, and Jesse's had a real good season in 2009 so far. He's won 3 Figure 8 races, been a solid contender, and we're seeing Jesse now out looking at the front of his car as the tow truck is pulled up there underneath the scoreboard to hook up the 57 car.
And he was looking at the left front suspension like we saw there. So a little bit further to the right there, and Jack for the 57 machine.
That's
so we'll
right.
see if they can get that left front fixed and get him back underway again.
Yeah, most likely down there in heavy traffic, probably 3 abreast, banged wheels there, and maybe broke a tie rod or something, which means he may be able to get back into this race quickly, but he's already fallen a couple off the pace.
All right. 98 laps just completed by the leaders, 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 31 seconds remaining in this event. The Lord's Toy, the Last Chance Record boys, have been busy tonight, haven't they, Scott?
That's right. We've saw some skirmishes and saw some good cars being taken off the track so far, some race contenders, but right now up front we have 2 former Speedrome track champions, Bobby Douthit, Rodney Sizemore.
Bobby Douthit, the 1999 late model track champion here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Rodney Sizemore, winner 15 years ago in the 1994 campaign. Mark Harmon, a track champion. Chris Harmon, a track champion. R.J. Norton Jr., a 2-time runner-up track champion. A lot of fantastic talent at the front of this field in 2009. So we'll see the field continue being shown, the yellow flag.
Let's talk about Bobby Douthit for just a second. He came back to racing this year, as we mentioned earlier, after a few-year layoff. Car owner Brian Newsom came up with a radical design for a new car this year, a little different than the normal Speedrome late model as far as the front suspension is concerned. And they spent a few weeks working the bugs out of it, but most times late in the year, it's run really, really good. And so far tonight, Bobby Douthit has stayed right up front as we go green against him and Rodney Sizemore.
Back to green there as McMurtry got around Douthit as there was and coming out turn number 4, Leonard Basham is hooked up with a couple stalkers with the 14 Donnie Sloan. He gets out. Oh, and he backs into Art Crew. And now they clear out. Can Donnie Sloan get refired as the leaders are coming around turn number 4? He gets away. Donnie Sloan is still stalled.
That's right, the 51X of Jack Smith. I believe he just came onto the track, Jonathan.
I think he
got
did
caught
too.
up in that tangle. Sloan's still stalled over there in turn 4. We'll see what happens here with the flagman, whether it's going to come out or not. As Rodney gets ready to go around that 14 car, he gets back underway.
So all the track, all the cars. Oh, another big crash in the north end. I see R.J. Norton Jr. He spun out. He was collected with another car, perhaps the 86 of Matt Clark. Dust cleared, tire smoke dissipating, but we're back underway.
Yeah, it looks like all the wheels are up on the 69 car of R.J. Norton Jr. He's come away from that a little lucky, still in the lead lap, but lost a little track distance.
And running in 5th position still. So R.J. stays on the lead lap. Rodney Sizemore, 45 minutes into this event now. Your leader. And Douthit's kind of dropped back a bit. Tony Anderson kind of hit him a little bit through the crossover there. But Leonard Basham right on the front of Bobby Douthit. But Sizemore tiptoes his way through the crossover. So does Basham, so does Douthit. Here comes Wild Bill Tunney Jr. wanting to get back to the front and get that lap back to get on the lead lap.
That's right, the veteran is looking a little racy tonight. The man with more starts and more laps in the history of this World Figure 8 Championship is looking to get back on the lead lap, currently running in the 6th position.
And the crazy crossover action on your screen right now. Dossie, Greg, so many cars trying to miss this crazy World Figure 8 Championship edition of the crossover.
Sizemore got a good jump on that start on Bobby Douthit. Got a little bit of clean traffic there. Where you're always in traffic, but his is a little lighter than Douthit's got right now.
And right in front of the leader, looks like some Lexan came off the wing of the 16 of Robbie Loving. It's going right there before the start-finish line. We'll see if that's going to cause anybody to make evasive maneuvers there, but we'll keep going green here for Rodney Sizemore. And now Bill Tunney Jr., he'll pass Douthit, so he has his, Douthit gets in the back of Bill Tunney in the south end, but he'll get going again. I think that was maybe a little bit of an accident there.
Yeah, it looked like a little checkup deal. He got into the back, maybe Bill popped out of gear for a split second.
Oh, so much crossover, unbelievable. Dossie almost got taken out again. But Sizemore keeps soldiering through. He'll put Doug Gregg down another lap, so the 07 champion will move down perhaps another lap, now 9 laps down.
That's right. So far tonight, Doug Gregg has been near some big accidents, so if I was the leader, Rodney Sizemore, I'd maybe want to get away from that 33 car because he's been close to the action all night long.
About 7 seconds between your leader, Rodney Sizemore, and second place, Bobby Douthit. And then Mark Harmon just a little bit further behind him. At the stripe, Rodney Sizemore, your leader once again through the crossover on lap number 111.
Yeah, it's starting to stretch out to a point where Rodney's kind of on his own there, and there's a great pack of cars that contain most everybody that's on the track. Rodney's going to have to start threading the needle there at the crossover here in the next few laps.
And if we go back down to the south end now, the second place battle is heated up as Mark Harmon in the red 35 is behind the 21 machine of second place Bobby Douthit. They're going through the north end right now through turns 3 and 4. So that's your best battle on the track right now, Scott and I. Here they come into your living room.
That's right. And last night, Mark Harmon said he thought he had the best car he's had so far at the World Figure 8 Championships, the best chance to win this big prize.
Douthit stretches it out a little bit more, so Douthat kind of has to miss out the Michigan Playboy, Robbie Loving, in the 08 of Ryan Gillespie, who's on the track now. Rick Gillespie.
That's right, and these guys are almost meeting Rodney at the crossover there as Rodney's trying to split this traffic up.
Basham and Ware almost take each other out the crossover there.
That's right. You also saw Rodney go through there just in front of the third place Mark Harmon. The traffic's heating up right here.
Oh! Douthat just got to the back of Danny Smith. He is stalled. The second place machine now is stopped on the racetrack. You see him there on your screen. Will he get the car fired again? He'll go a lap down. Douthat down a lap.
21 down, 08 down.
So Bobby Douthat goes from second place to a lap down in just one lap. He'll get ready. If he doesn't start moving, he's going to miss a second lap. Here comes Sizemore again. So Mark Harmon is now your second place runner, and Chris Harmon is in third.
That's right. The Douthat car ran into the back of him, and it's maybe done something to the transmission or something because he's not able to get it moving once again. He's stalled there, getting close to going 3 laps down.
That's a precarious position for Bobby Douthat as the field keeps going left and right of him. He is probably very, very frightened. And here comes the yellow. It is displayed for the leader, Rodney Sizemore. So we're at caution on lap 118 with 2 hours and 10 minutes remaining in this event.
What a bad break there for the 21 car. Not a big damaging hit. He just, we'll see it on replay. Danny Smith is stalled.
Oh, that's what happened there. Curtis McMurtry was falling right behind him, and Curtis went right, and before he knew it, there was a car right in front of the Douthat machine.
That's right. When Curtis turned, all of a sudden the 23 car was right there on the edge of a hood. And the ironic thing about that is Bobby Douthat was a former crew member of Curtis McMurtry. That's how he got started in the Speedrome racing.
As we see the 21 machine of Douthat's machine move, there's a big puddle underneath him, and there looks like, if you look at the bottom of that car, maybe that was a sheet metal, maybe it was transmission, but obviously he could not get the car refired.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that shot to the front end maybe moved the bumper just enough to damage the neck of the radiator. Sometimes that happens when these guys, the bodywork is so tight on that radiator that if they hit it just at the right way, even though it doesn't look like there's a lot of damage, it damages the neck of the tank of that radiator and knocks it out. Bobby was pushed off the track. We'll have to keep an eye out in the pit area.
So 2 hours, 9 minutes remaining on lap 119. Your leader is the 51 of Rodney Sizemore. You can see here the front bumper is very mangled after a couple of hits he's hit in this event. Second place and third place are outsiders. The 35 of Mark Harmon. He'll be side by side on the next restart with the 51 of Rodney Sizemore and the 44 of Chris Harmon. So 2 outsiders running second and third on the lead lap. This far to the event has not happened in a very long time, Scott Nye.
That's right, and you see a tale of 2 different hits. Bobby's hit not as bad, has trouble with the car, has to go pit side. Rodney looks like he's hammered 2 or 3 cars pretty good there, and all his wheels are up.
Exactly.
That's right, and he's still running. So it's just a matter of inches that keeps these guys on the track.
And as the field cycles through again, I think we are down to 4 cars on the lead lap now with R.J. Norton Jr., the last car on the lead lap. So R.J. in 4th place, and Bill Tunney, again, 1 lap down, and only 5 cars behind the leader. And the restart is back. Here we go. Shackelford comes back out, and here comes for a battle for the lead. It's Rodney Sizemore and Mark Harmon. Sizemore and Harmon clear the track through the crossover and to the north end of the 3rd turn. Harmon tries to stay up with the rocket, Rodney Sizemore. But Sizemore at the stripe, his advantage will be a couple car lengths and officially at 0.633 seconds.
That's right, and Rodney's been fending off the challenges so far. First he had Dawsey. Dawsey went away, Rodney stayed up front. Then he had Bruce Tunney, fended with him, stayed out front. Then he had Bobby Douthat, he went away, and Rodney still stayed up front. And now he has Mark Harmon on his tail.
So Mark Harmon now, and we go back to the 3rd place machine also of Mark Harmon. Just to give you an idea of where Mark Harmon or Chris Harmon is in relation to your leaders. He's about 6.2 seconds behind, about a third of a lap behind your leaders.
That's right.
But running strong.
Yes, he's just in a little bit heavier traffic than the 2 leaders who are out front clean and green.
And through the crossover, now Harmon looked to maybe get to the inside. And also Leonard Basham, who's a couple laps down behind the 35 machine. So Rodney Sizemore still your leader, lap 125. We're getting close to about a 400 lap average if we keep going this pace, Scott Nye.
That's right, 400's been the standard over the last couple of decades. Everybody putting up a lot of laps. Rodney leading that 400 lap club. Heavy traffic there at the crossover.
Last year, the winner had to complete 467 laps to win this event. That was Fred Bear Jr. in 2008. Oh, through the crossover. Harmon and Basham almost get taken out, but they get going. And now Rodney Sizemore has extended his lead as he flashes across your screen. His lead now is up to 1.86 seconds.
That's right, he got through there straight and clean. Mark Harmon had to avoid trouble at the crossovers. We see Tony Anderson and Matt Clark almost get into it. Tony's got trouble headed for the pit.
Tony Anderson in that reigning World Figure 8 Championship car that he bought from Fred Bear we just spoke of. He heads to the pit lane for repairs. Rodney Sizemore, clean track, as clean as you could get this early in this event. No traffic to pass. Crossover not too bad at this second. Well, he has to slow up that time, of course.
Yeah, when you get that clean time, you take a quick breath because you know it's not going to last for long. As either the crossover or
Wild Bill Tunney Jr. and Jack Smith hit together. Looks like Wild Bill's okay, but that could have been very devastating for the 5th place runner of Wild Bill Tunney Jr. Oh, and Calkins gets the bumper of Bill Tunney Jr.
Yep.
But Bill moves him out of the way. You can't stop Wild Bill Tunney Jr.
That's right. Calkins was trying to show Bill, let's go a little wide in this corner. Bill was having none of it. Stood on the gas, went straight through, sending Calkins for a spin.
Wow, so Wild Bill Tunney Jr. it looks like, oh, he hits the brakes hard for the leader through the crossover there. You saw it. Wild Bill Tunney Jr., he keeps plugging along. 1 lap down in the 5th position.
That's right. The man with no fear takes no prisoners when he's out there on the figure 8 course.
All right. Rodney Sizemore has the advantage of about 4.6 seconds over the 35 machine of Mark Harmon. Chris Harmon in the 3rd position in the number 44 machine. He'll come across the stripe and we'll get an official length back behind for him. He is 10.9 seconds behind. So looks like Rodney's pretty fast here, Scott. He's about been the class of the field through the first hour of this event.
That's right. As we were talking about a few minutes ago, he's had 5 or 6 different guys come up seeming to want to take over this race from him, but every time he's fended off that challenge and made it through.
Sizemore crosses the stripe on lap 134. Fourth place, R.J. Norton Jr. running strong as well. There's R.J. on your screen. Rodney just a few seconds behind the third place machine of Chris Harmon. But R.J., I got to tell you, this is his best run so far in the last few years in this event.
That's right. He had that trouble going on about 40 laps back or so, but the caution saved him, kept him on the lead lap, and now he's still on the lead lap, going to try to make his way through as he has a tough time at the crossover.
Let's kind of talk about the highest running stalker right now. From my estimate here, looking at the screen unofficially, running in the 21st position is Art Groove. And he's about 45 laps down, but Art Groove seems to be the highest running stalker in this field. So could be a good $5,000 payday for him.
Yeah, that's right. Some of the stalkers have had a little tough road going so far. Most of them have come in onto the track, went to the pits at least once, but they're going to come back. And the last 2 years, the guy that's won this, David Lee Bird, has made up the most laps in the late stages. So don't count any of these stock guys out, because we have a long, long way to go here in this race.
Donnie Sloan's still making laps out there. So he's second place in that stock division. Kind of a race within a race. If you think about sports cars, you know, running in maybe the Daytona prototype division in the Grand Am series and the GT division. That's how we have this race going on right now.
That's right. And as we talked about earlier, $5,000 to the best finishing stalker. That is a huge payday for these guys. One of the highest for a stock class car in the world. All
right, we have seen Rodney Sizemore pass the 69 machine of R.J. Norton. So R.J. Norton now officially 1 lap down in 4th position. So only 3 cars remain on the lead lap in this event. As we move to the 1 hour complete mark in the 33rd annual World Figure 8 Championship, the greatest figure 8 race on the planet. Oh my! Artie Ware really went slow into the pits. Dossie hit him. RJ the third hit him, and Sizemore was in the middle of that, so that was another lucky break for Rodney Sizemore.
That's right, and no matter how fast your car is...
Oh, you just saw it! There's a second place machine taken out by the 08 machine of Ricky Gillespie. Mark Harmon getting back onto track now, but he will still remain in the second position as Chris Harmon, his cousin, way behind him.
Yeah, it looked like Mark thought he was a little bit farther ahead of the 08 at Gillespie than he was. Cut down, the bumper made contact. Mark, unfortunately, the tire stayed up. He's back going again.
And we'll see that replay here as you'll see Mark Harmon go and get just kind of hit. I think that was more Gillespie's fault, trying to get on the inside of that marker tire to have his lap complete, than Mark Harmon having any type of problem with that.
He did have a bad angle going in right there. Rick Gillespie competing in his first World Figure 8 Championship.
It looks like Dossie maybe, oh! Sizemore and Harmon! Harmon's bumper has been ripped off by the leader. That was your third place machine. And there's Leonard Basham stuck. Oh, he gets hard hit by Jack. And there's the third place and the leader. And we are going red. Oh my goodness. All your leaders are right there. Dossie got smacked really hard. He lost the right front. Harmon was there in the 44. 51 is Sizemore. Just hits them all. We'll see if the Sizemore, the leader, has any problem. We can't tell from that angle. Scott and I, that's about the craziest thing I've ever seen in the World Figure 8 Championship.
Oh, wow. You just basically took about half of the top 10, put them in a bag, shook them up. They all fell out, damaged cars, several big hits as we go to the replay.
So we see there's Mark Harmon in that 35 machine. He makes evasive maneuvers and misses the Basham machine.
Who hit Calkins.
So he hit Calkins. There you see Calkins' machine. Now we'll see, and there's Dossie who just didn't see, and there's Harmon in the 44, and then there was Sizemore. I can't imagine they're not being damaged at 51 machine right now.
That's right, first and third place both involved in that, as well as guys contending in the top 10. Some top talent taken out in that wreck. Leonard Basham got hit on about 3 or 4 different sides. As you see the IRL safety team checking out the 1988 World Figure 8 champion.
They're taking a look at Basham in the 9. They push back the 51 machine of Sizemore, who is in his machine. I don't see, he looks like he may be unbuckling his helmet, and we'll see if he's out. A barrage of wreckers are coming out to the track, and with 2 hours and 37 seconds remaining, with 144 laps complete, we have this big crash. So we are under red flag. We're going to take a quick time out here. We will reset everything for you, and we'll re-see how everything happened to get us to this point. With Scott and I'm Jonathan Bird. This is the 33rd annual World Figure 8 Championship from the Indianapolis Speedrome. On the planet here at the Indianapolis Speedrome, and here's the developments. The leader of the race, Rodney Sizemore, after his 9 lives seem to have expired, his race ends on the hook. He leaves the track there as you see him going off on the wrecker.
That's right, the big chain reaction crash we saw a few minutes ago took out some top contenders for this World Figure 8 Championship.
And we also saw Leonard Basham getting out of his machine under his own power, so Leonard Basham seems to be okay at this moment, so that was a very good thing to see, the fact that the 88 World Figure 8 champion out under his own power, but his night is through, as we saw some really compelling footage that we're going to look forward to showing you guys. One of the coolest things that has to happen, the nose-to-tail wreckers having to lift off the broken down 9 machine of Leonard Basham from nose to tail. Is just some of those things that the car cannot roll in either direction. They have to take the whole car and take it off the racing surface.
That's right, the whole rear end assembly's broken. All the tires are flat. Suspension's broke seemingly on every corner. No way for that car to roll. And these talented last chance wrecker drivers, one at the front, one at the back, hauling him off. Leonard was like a pinball in that wreck. He got hit 3 or 4 different ways.
Amazing.
Good to see him walk off under his own power.
All right, so here's the reset after the big red flag, the big chain reaction crash that involved at least 5 different drivers. Those drivers being Jack Dossie, Rodney Sizemore, Chris Harmon, Leonard Basham, and there's at least one more driver that was part of that pinball. Yeah, Wayne Calkins as well. The leader, when we go back to green, as the field is now recirculating and there's only 6 cars running and there's going to be a big pile of cars coming back onto the track here, your leader will be the 35 of Mark Harmon. Then second place will be the 69 of R.J. Norton Jr. And the third place machine, if he comes back out, will be the 44 of Chris Harmon. So the green flag is out, and here comes the parade of cars. The 57 of Jesse Tunney, the 29 of Jeff Shackelford, the 0 of Bill Tunney Jr. He'll get through the crossover before the leaders come through. There's the 44 of Chris Harmon, Frosty, Jack Smith, Robbie Loving, and here come the leaders as more cars come out of the track.
Yeah, Chris got out there just in time to stay on the lead lap. He's about 3/4 of the lap down, but him getting out on the lead lap, he could take advantage of another caution.
And Bill Tunney had stopped at the crossover. He keeps going again, and here comes the leader, the 35, now officially your leader, with 145 laps complete, as Robbie Loving, you see on your screen, having a problem. There's your leader, the 35 of Mark Harmon. He's in the middle of a Tunney sandwich. 0, Wild Bill Tunney Jr. in front of him. The 5 of Mark Tunney behind him. And there's a big crash coming out of 4. The 42 Tony Anderson, the 71 of Frost. Looks like everybody's kind of going now. Here comes the leader with a bunch, about 10 cars kind of stopped there around the backstretch area. He'll get through okay.
The big thing on that is we saw Rodney Sizemore actually make it back out onto the track.
Okay.
He's circulating a couple car lengths behind your leader, 35 of Mark Harmon. Rodney's lost a couple of laps or so, 3 unofficially on the track. Rodney Sizemore back in, so he may have got her fueled up and things fixed. It could turn into an advantage later in the race.
And Ben Tunney has gotten around his father and gotten one of his laps back because he passed the 35 machine of Mark Harmon. So now unofficially, Ben Tunney give him the 4th spot. And there's the 69 of R.J. Norton Jr. He's running in the 2nd position now. He is about, and we'll get the official 2.19 seconds behind the 35 of Mark Harmon. And there's a crossover with Jesse Tunney stalled. Oh man, Matt Clark almost hit him. Will he get moving again as the field comes away? Chucky Hearn moves, but Jesse seems to be stalled, and we are under caution once again on lap 150. We had completed the first hour of this event with 1 hour, 58.5 minutes remaining. Mark Harmon, your leader on lap 150.
That's right, the bad luck continues for the last year's runner-up, Jesse Tunney. Jesse was stalled early on up there in the pit end about 15 or 20 minutes ago. They took him off on the hook. He came back out just a few laps ago, stalled again at the crossover, and now you see his father, Bill, giving him a push start there to get him back going.
All right, so he get back under power. Wild Bill will circulate back around to the back of the field as he was not able to get a lap back. He's still just 1 lap down, but he is running in the 5th position. So the wily veteran keeps running in this race. Amazing, amazing stuff here.
That's right. All kinds of things have gotten turned upside down here in the last 15 laps or so, with Mark Harmon out in front, looking to become only the 3rd out-of-town driver to win the World Figure 8 Championship. But folks, there's still 2 hours remaining in this event.
Long way to go. We're about on a 450 lap pace. So we had a nice long green flag run there to kind of start turning some laps. But Mark Harmon, R.J. Norton, and Chris Harmon, the top 3 in this 33rd annual World Figure 8 Championship.
Yeah, we here at the Speedrome joked in the middle of the last summer about maybe having some sort of a Harmon versus Tunney match race because there's a Sportsdrome. And now looky here, we have 2 Harmons and 2 Tunneys in the top 5 running right.
Moved off, so we'll look forward to a restart.
Michigan champion trying to get a lap back.
Rodney Sizemore is in the 5th position now.
Yeah, and that's a heck of a comeback because you remember for the night. Now he's the one that has taken advantage of other people's misfortune, moved to the lead, and ironically, Mark Harmon, the leader, second place RJ Norton Jr., they are the best of friends. When Mark comes up here every year for the World Figure 8, they keep Mark's car at RJ's garage.
Wow.
So the two of them work together on their cars because they were both built by the same person. So these two, the best of friends, all of a sudden right now, bumper to bumper, looking to settle this World Figure 8 championship amongst themselves. They hope.
Well, now looking at that, the first and second, they're nose to tail. They'll be nose to tail in this restart. So very, very interesting side story there between friends racing and battling on the racetrack here in the motorsports capital of the world.
Yeah, and as we talk, these guys would love to settle it out amongst themselves. Good friends, but you know, when it comes down to it, for the World Championship, neither one has won that race. So it's all good.
RJ Norton Jr., his best finish in this race was 5th back in 2005, the two-time Speedrome Jakes 150 Figure 8 champion. He'll want to add to his resume and claim that $20,000 first prize.
Yeah, and he's also another one so far in this race that's overcome a little adversity. Early on, he fell back, got caught up in a couple of things, even dropped a lap down at one point, got that lap back when the caution came out, and now here he is, just a few feet behind Mark Harmon for the race lead.
Quite amazing. Let's kind of go through the running order as we have it unofficially from timing and scoring. Mark Harmon, your leader in the 35 machines. The second place is the 69 of RJ Norton Jr. Third place, one lap down, the 5 machine of Ben Tunney. Fourth place on that same lap, the 0 of Wild Bill Tunney Jr. And then a couple laps behind them, 3 laps down, is the 51 machine of Rodney Sizemore. Sixth place, Robbie Loving in his best run in many, many years. Chris Harmon has dropped to 7th place as we still have not seen him back onto this. So ever since he lost that back bumper in that big crash that kind of started everything that happened, we have not seen the 44 machine of an early front runner in Chris Harmon.
He snuck back out there for just a split second, but went right back to the pits. We haven't seen him since. Maybe some major suspension damage on that car.
Interestingly enough, the 8th place is the 33 machine of Doug Gregg. About 10 laps down unofficially.
And he's a guy we thought his night could have ended several times at the crossover.
And Leonard Basham still on the same lap as Curtis McMurtry, but Curtis will pass him for the 9th position here in just a lap or so. So Curtis McMurtry, 17 laps down. I mean, a long way to go still, but a top 10 run for the two-time World Figure 8 champion.
That's right. We saw the front end suspension nearly ripped off that corner of the car. Thought, boy, he's done for the night. But they got it fixed pretty quick. Got back out. Like I say, he's probably out of contention for the win unless something crazy happens. But, you know, it can happen. But he's going to run himself right back up there towards the top 5 before this thing's over if he keeps his nose clean.
So 160 laps complete now. The pace truck lights are off, indicating most likely a start here on lap number 161. Mark Harmon trying to become only the 3rd out-of-town driver to win the World Figure 8 Championship. Green flag flies, we're back underway. It's Harmon, it's Norton. Warning 1-2. With Curtis McMurtry trying to get another lap back right behind the 35 machine.
That's right. Let's see if RJ could get up there and keep up with Mark Harmon and become another leader in this race. RJ hasn't led a lap yet, but as you can see, he's up there ready to pounce.
And 6 cars behind, running in the 6th, the order is Ben Tunney. So Ben Tunney running some good laps of late in the 3rd position. If he get back around Mark Harmon in a relatively short amount of time, when we're about 20 minutes or so, maybe 30 laps or so from pit stop, Scott and I, we can see a lot of things happen depending on the timing of that pit stop, because a little fewer cars on the track may mean we make it a longer green flag run. There may have been some thought about when do we make that pit stop so we don't get stuck with a green flag pit stop.
That's right. Most of these guys running up front will be looking for 15 gallons of fuel, 4 tires on that pit stop. They want to do it on a caution, but if they get unlucky enough, we have a long green flag run and they have to go under green, they don't want to do that. And even if they all pit under caution, these pit crews don't do this very often. So anywhere between 1 to 4 laps will be their pit stop. So a guy like Ben Tunney can vault that 1 lap very easily back to the front if they have a good stop.
You see on the left side of your screen there going back, that's RJ Norton Jr. with the 5 of Ben Tunney right behind him. So the 2nd and 3rd place cars on the running order not necessarily on the track because Ben is a lap behind the 69 machine of R.J. Norton.
Yeah, and you talk about the Tunneys on there running up front. Bill Tunney Jr., our guy running in the 4th position, has all 3 of his sons racing on the track right now. Austin, Ben, and Jesse all still running right now as we go into the second stage of this race.
Looking at some lap times, Mark Harmon's been running sub 18-second laps the last 3 laps. I've been watching his lap times, having a little bit more clean track. Ben ran just a 1/10 slower that last lap as he started to clear some traffic, but it was about 4/10 one lap and about 6/10 another lap slower because Ben's trying to get through that traffic and he's kind of stuck behind the 69 of R.J. Norton. I think that Ben Tunney might be a faster car than R.J. Norton as he looks to actually pass him. And you see wild Bill Tunney Jr. on your screen right there in the 0 machine, who's just a few car lengths behind his son running in that 4th position.
Yeah, and I'm anxious to see as this race plays out what kind of conditioning Bill has going on for this race, because Bill has been working on his son's cars all year, only raced maybe 3 or 4 times all year long, earned a qualifying spot last night in the qualifying races, and he probably didn't expect himself to be up here like this early on, and we'll see how he goes over the full 3-hour distance.
So 1 hour and 48 minutes remaining. We're on lap number 170. Oh, and there's the crossover crash. You saw it on your screen. It's the Michigan Playboy running in 6th place. Oh, and Bill Tunney Jr. kind of got hit and hit him, the 93 of Bob Johnson. He gets it back underway, but he loses a little bit of time.
Yeah, Robbie Loving was trying to time that crossover with the 93 of Bob Johnson, just caught the back. As you can see on Loving's car, tore the whole front bumper assembly off his car. Let's go to replay.
And you see there's the Bob Johnson 93 machine at the top of your screen, the 16 of Robbie Loving. Here they go, and he just couldn't quite hold up with Robbie Loving from hitting the 93 of Bob Johnson.
And you saw on there, Loving couldn't let off the gas anymore to avoid Bob Johnson because he would have got hit by Neil Hearn's number 13 car. He was between a rock and a hard place on that deal right there.
Back to live action, Mark Harmon coming out of turn 2, shooting down the backstretch to the 3rd turn. We have seen that the 5 machine of Ben Tunney has gotten around the 69 machine of R.J. Norton. So if they were on the same lap, Ben would be now 2nd, running faster than the 3rd place machine. But still, there's still that 4/10 of a second time difference about per lap that Mark Harmon has been able to get through, but now he's got some traffic to deal with.
Right, just who's got the brakes at what time is how that sorts out to see if he can gain the time. We also saw in traffic right there coming into turn 1 that Chris Harmon's returned to the track. He's lost a big handful of laps, but he's back trying to get going.
Still running in the 9th position is Chris Harmon, but about 19 laps down. And now Chris Harmon has a big problem with the radiator as he hits R.J. Norton Jr. hits him as he tries to get to the pits. Did R.J. keep going? He does, but that lets Ben Tunney get back around him again. So now R.J. has lost another lap, but maybe I missed something there. We'll see as they flash across timing and scoring again. R.J. still ahead of him, so maybe Ben had some troubles earlier that we missed.
I think I might have jinxed the 44, Chris Harmon right there, just as I was talking about him. A couple cars slowed in front. He hit the back of him, knocked the radiator out of his car, and as he was trying to sneak into the pits through the heavy traffic, R.J. ran into the back of him, but it looks like so far Norton's car is still in one piece.
All right, we'll keep it going here. There's Ben Tunney in the 5 machine there. Ronnie Sizemore's right behind him. Ronnie's only 4 laps down, a couple laps behind Ben.
Yeah, the thing to watch now with the 69 machine, even though the tire didn't go flat or anything, is to see if he maybe bent some suspension in that deal right there. Maybe open the toe up, bent a spindle or something that'll affect the handling. But all that will show over the next probably 25 or 30 laps.
And you may not be able to see on screen, but going into turn 3, there is a lot of fluid from that Harmon machine. When he tried to get off the track, when he was going a little faster, the water was dissipating, but when he slowed down to pit, there's a little bit of a streak going into the corner number 3.
Yeah, but as we do in the World Figure 8 Championship, the course is live on this. The guys have to deal with water, oil, and stuff on the track because it is an endurance race, and they just got to deal with the conditions.
Mark Harmon, your leader still, lap 180. Now completing lap 181 as he crosses the stripe. Second place is still the 69 of R.J. Norton Jr. And I think that R.J. is still on the lead lap. 13.24 seconds behind
Yeah,
him.
he's just about 3/4 of a lap down as you look at it on the track. He's trying really hard, but he's got one heck of a pack in front of him, and Harmon's got a little bit of clean air.
And we have completed the 75 minutes of this race now. 1 hour, 44 minutes remaining, 182 laps complete. And this is the type of pace that can threaten that all-time record set back in 1982, I believe, of Kenny St. John's 512 laps complete, Scott and I.
That's right, he picked up 512 back then. Back then they had a little different format, so it was all green flag laps. Jack Dawsey went 495 and 99. A couple of amazing races. Let's see how many laps we can get here tonight.
Austin Tunney's kind of been stopped at the intersection. Now he gets going, as you see on your screen. His father passes right on the inside of him. Bill Tunney in fourth, Ben Tunney in third, R.J. Norton in second. Mark Harmon, your leader still.
Mark's now encountering all that heavy traffic that RJ's been fighting through the last few minutes.
Yeah, that last time by, Mark had a 20.2 second lap, and Ben had a 19.3 second lap. And RJ had an 18 second lap. So RJ gained 2 seconds to the leader on that lap.
That's right, RJ is almost...
Oh, through the crossover. Harmon had a problem. He had to go kind of slow and take evasive maneuvers as well.
There you see Norton battling with the early leader, Rodney Sizemore. Rodney's still hanging on to the top 5, just a few laps back. Doesn't look like whatever damage he got in that wreck has affected his speed. He just lost those laps when the green flag came back out before repairs were made.
And unofficially, Rodney's only 3 laps down. I correct myself earlier when I said he was 4 laps down, but we had to wait for the refresh on the timing and scoring. And, you know, when that 18 seconds a lap timing and scoring, there's a lot that happens.
That's right, and 3 laps down before the halfway point, Rodney is by no means out of this.
No.
As we were talking earlier with Jack, he was 6 down one year when Jack won the race, so Rodney's definitely still in contention, shown he's got the speed.
And last year, Fred Bear was 4 laps down to the field because Jack Dawsey had a 4-lap lead and came back and won that race, even though near the end, Jesse Tunney made up about 3 of the 4 laps he was down. So that was quite an amazing feat as well.
Yeah, that's why these guys try to race every lap all the way to the end, because you never know what's going to happen with those other competitors, and all of a sudden you're right back in it.
More crazy crossover traffic, 3 wide through the crossover. The leader had to avoid the 93 of Bob Johnson, the Armor Machine of 16, Garrigus in the 77. And kind of a shout out to Donnie Garrigus turning laps. He's running in the 12th position. About 40 laps down, but still out there running strong.
Yeah, and this is the first weekend he's raced this season, so Donnie's looked pretty good coming right off the trailer.
Wild Bill and almost gets into the 57 of Jesse Tunney in the crossover. He had to take evasive maneuvers as well.
Whoa, Norton had to make an evasive maneuver there to cross over for the 51 exit of Jack Smith, but he still keeps going.
Oh my gosh! 14 of Donnie Sloan was totally going the wrong way and almost took out your leader, Mark Harmon, in the crossover. That was crazy. 14, Donnie Sloan, and 24, Larry Hahn in the north end loop. They've kind of stopped. So one of the stock competitors that we thought maybe had a chance at that $5,000 position prize having a problem, and maybe Donnie Sloan's going to give him a push to get him out the track.
You see Ben Tunney on your screen. Ben has fought his way back up into that top 3, looking to get a lap back here as we near midway. Mark Harmon's right out front. He's been caught out the last 4 or 5 laps behind Tony Anderson.
Yeah.
These two are former track champions at the Speedrome Speedway, and now they're up here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, they're fighting very hard for that. Tony doesn't want to go down another lap. Anderson running the top 10 right now, so he doesn't want to lose another lap, but Harmon definitely has the strongest car out on the track right now. Oh, Bill Tunney! I think he got hit with Donnie Garrigus. I saw a piece go through. That was kind of crazy. But we keep racing. Jeff Shackelford on your screen, the 29, that yard arm machine, turning laps in the 8th position right now, 30 laps back unofficially, but Jeff's turning laps as he gets kind of touched there by the Wild Bill Tunney Jr. machine.
A lot of damage up front there on the Shackelford machine, but he's still running. Got the legendary crew chief Tommy St. John down there helping him this weekend. Tommy's been in victory lane more times than any other crew chief in the history of the World Figure 8 Championship.
Well, Mark Harmon still stuck behind that 42 machine of Tony Anderson. There's Boyd Butcher along with him, turning laps. Boyd Butcher making a return to the World Figure 8 Championship this year, and even racing in a weekly sense at the World home of the Figure 8 in the Jiffy Lube late model division.
You see Mark there behind Anderson. He's still not been able to get around him. Mark's a little bit quicker than Tony, but Tony's held a good line there and has kind of knifed his way through traffic.
Caution is out. Caution is out on lap number 199 with 1 hour and 30. Oh, RJ Norton gets taken out by David Lee Bird in turn number 3, trying to get to the pits. That's interesting. Can RJ get a go? And he does. He makes his pit stop now. This is about the time where we're looking at pit stops for the leaders, Scott.
That's right, and I happened to be looking at that. RJ it was a design pit stop. He was heading pit side for the pits, and
the leader, Mark Harmon, goes to the pits. So that's going to let Ben Tunney get his lap back right now.
That's right, and David Lee Bird was going for the gate at the same time as we were getting ready to see on the replay. RJ is going to duck towards the pits. Bird is there as well. They make contact on the side. You see RJ slowing down to get the pits. Bird's running full steam, getting ready to go through the turn.
I think he was trying to get to the turn. Yeah, you're right, Scott.
And they clipped each other and wedged him in there. And RJ got caught in the gate. We'll see. He hit pretty hard on that left rear end of the gate. Let's see if there's any damage. It's going to be crowded down there in the pits because both second place cars are pitted right next to each other. So it may be crowded. And it looks like Ben Tunney is going to get back on the lead lap and maybe even take the lead as we get ready to go.
Well, this wasn't the best time to take. That was one of the shortest yellow flags we've had in World Figure 8 history. As the green flag flies again, everybody flashes in front of the 2 cars that were on the lead lap on the pits.
And this is one of those interesting times because Mark Harmon's still the leader for a lap while in the pits before Ben comes around.
And Ben Tunney now unofficially is shown to be your leader. And Bill Tunney Jr. on the lead lap as well is in the 2nd position. Mark Harmon, we still haven't seen. Here comes cars right now. Well, that's the vehicle. That's a track vehicle, so we're still waiting for the leaders. A bad time to make a pit stop, Scott and I, as it was really short yellow flag. I think that's at least 2 laps now for Mark Harmon. And here comes Mark Harmon. Ben Tunney just got back right around him there. So Ben Tunney's your leader now. Mark Harmon, the 35 machine, 2 laps down. A 2-minute and 2-second pit stop.
That's right, and it's just a little bit of the luck of the draw there. You know, these guys don't normally do pit stops, but timing's everything on that.
And we just got told the 35, you see it kind of to your screen. Harmon has to leave. I think he hit the wall on turn number 1. And Ben Tunney on the way outside there, trying to get through heavy traffic as your leader. He didn't have the luxury of a normal leading on a restart because when the leaders went off, he was still back in the pack. And it wasn't like a wave around like they have in the IRL.
That's right, and I'm wondering if there was problems with Harmon's car. Harmon pitted, they rushed to get him out. He comes out, makes it all the way down the straightaway, and goes into the wall. They may not have had a wheel tight or something. He had to go back into the pit area and see if they could solve that problem, as we now see Norton finally returning to the track.
So RJ Norton Jr. will come across the stripe. Unofficially, let's see what happens. The timing and scoring, RJ 6 laps down. So Ben Tunney, your leader in the 5. 2nd place, Bill Tunney Jr. in the 0, 4.4 seconds behind him. 3rd place, 2 laps down, the 51 machine, 1 lap down now, the 51 machine of Rodney Sizemore, 2 laps down.
And as you can see, it just turns on a dime, the race strategy.
Austin Tunney now spun out in the south end. You see him on your screen. Here he goes off back under his own power. So Austin will spin out here in his 2nd World Figure 8 Championship.
Yeah, and this brings up an amazing situation where we have father and son racing up front, running 1st and 2nd in this race. It's just incredible that this is a rare occurrence in regular figure 8 racing, let alone the World Championship.
Ben Tunney, the first time he's ever led this race.
That's right.
So adding to the Tunney name in the World Figure 8 Championship, now the 5, the oldest son of Wild Bill Tunney Jr. as his brother flashes in beside him to get one of his laps back. So Jesse Tunney now will just be 50 laps behind, but in the 13th position.
Now these guys are going to also have to make a pit stop, and it's an interesting thing being father and son, which means they share the same pit crew. So these guys probably can't pit at the same time, so they're going to have to be lucky enough to make their stops on the right moment, or else those other guys are going to vault back in front of them.
And we have also seen that the field's a little bit more strung out. And if this crossover starts not having as much problems, this could be an extended green flag run, which perilously running, I would say maybe another 12, 14 minutes safely running with that fuel load. Don't you think, Scott?
They can run for a long time. Guys can get up around the 300 lap mark.
Okay.
We've had a lot of caution so far, so that may get them later than they thought. But then again, you might change your decisions. You may not put 4 on. You may put 2 tires on and some fuel. You know, so a lot of things are changing right here. And speaking of the pits, when Mark Harmon went back in that second time, he has not returned to the track yet.
So Ben Tunney and Bill Tunney, father and son, are up 2 laps to the field right now.
These guys are so proud of a couple of years ago when Bill won the Pepsi 100 and Ben finished second. They thought that was the coolest thing, finishing 1-2 in a 100-lap figure 8. Wouldn't it be amazing if they finished 1-2 in the World Figure 8 Championship? I wonder who would be buying dinner at the restaurant afterwards.
Well, I'll buy dinner for them down at Jonathan Burt's cafeteria if they run 1-2 in this World Figure 8 Championship. Crazy action there for your leader. He now is stuck behind the 42 machine of Tony Anderson. He's got a brother in front of him and a brother behind him, as Jesse got his lap back and stays in front of him, and Austin is in the 2 machine.
And let's
Tony give any leeway to the leader.
You see Rodney.
Oh, and in turn number 4, Neil Hearn and Jack Smith are knocked up with their noses. Neil Hearn is up on the ground, and the 51 is stopped. So let's see what happens here. I don't think that the Hearn machine will be able to get free. And this could be the caution that Ben Tunney needs. We are under caution.
Yeah, and if it is the caution, let's see if they both go together or they go separately. Let's see how that works out, how that strategy will play out with the team pit.
So here we go. The pace car picks up the leader, the 5 machine of Ben Tunney. Let's see what happens to Ben. Is Ben going to pit? Ben does not pit, so he decides to stay out. Will Bill pit? I don't see, no, he does not pit. So the 5 of Ben Tunney stays on the track, as does the second place machine, the 0 of Wild Bill Tunney Jr. And the 51 of Rodney Sizemore is still on the track, 1 lap behind.
And that's the interesting guy to talk about, because not, a half hour ago when he was hauled off of the hook, we thought, that's it, Rodney's done, he's gone. Not only was he not done, but he got back out, only losing 4 laps. He's made a couple of those back up in crashes, but Rodney all of a sudden is now back a couple laps off the pace. And if they fueled that car up when Ben and Bill take their stops, Rodney may be able to elevate himself right back into the lead.
So we see the pace truck lights are out.
It's a good thing they didn't make a stop on that as quick as that caution went.
It was a faster caution than we thought. Green flag back out, we're back underway. It's clear sailing for father and son and father. It's Ben Tunney, and now here's Wild Bill Tunney Jr. taking a look at the lead. And he does. The 2003 World Figure 8 champion, taking the lead and having the lead. And we are close to halfway. With 1 hour and 31 minutes remaining on lap 219, Wild Bill Tunney Jr., your leader in the 33rd World Figure 8 Championship.
Father and son swapped the lead near the halfway, and Bill's 17-year-old son, Austin, is serving as escort right there behind the guys.
And now Ben goes on the inside of his dad in the 4th turn. They'll come through the crossover, side by side, give that lap back to the 5 of Ben Tunney. 220 laps complete. We're moving towards the halfway mark, so we're on about a 442 lap pace, Scott 9.
That's right. We're going to see right here if everything Bill taught Ben was what he needed to get around him, but Bill may have some slick moves still left in his playbook while racing with son Ben for the lead in the World Figure 8 Championship.
Bill Tunney gets around the 86 of Johnny Bird. He'll bring the 5 of Ben Tunney right with him. So an incredible storyline developing here in this greatest figure 8 race on the planet, as father and son run first and second, a lap over the field of the 51 of Rodney Sizemore, who is the 4th car running in the order.
That's right.
He's right there.
This team has really come on here late in the season at the Speedrome. They won an incredible 5 figure-8s in a row, including all 3 of Bill's sons going to victory lane back to back to back. And now Bill wants to put his name on the winners list this year. He hasn't won a figure-8.
Oh, and he touches Boyd Butcher as they go into the 3rd corner, and they'll get by him. So just vintage Bill Tunney Jr. putting his nose, not worrying about taking any chances.
That's right. Bill heads a lot of categories here in the World Figure 8 Championship, including starts and laps completed, and he's adding to his laps led total right now.
Bill Tunney Jr. going into this event was 4th all-time in laps completed, laps led in the World Figure 8 Championship. This is the 15th race of the 31 he's competed in that he has led. That's
amazing. Now here he is with his son right on his bumper, bound to the lead. It's a dream situation for the Tunney family.
Mark Hart. Oh, followed Bill Tunney Jr. and RJ the 3rd. That's a big, no, it's not that bad. I don't know. Maybe he could get off the track and fix that, but that's a pretty big pit. And while Bill Tunney Jr. has stopped on the track, oh my goodness, we were just talking about maybe a dream scenario working out, but the 0 of Wild Bill Tunney Jr. and the 3 of RJ Norton the 3rd have collided at the crossover.
Bill tried to thread that needle. There just wasn't very much room there, as we're going to see on this replay.
And I don't know if Bill maybe saw that car. He probably was more worried about the 42 machine of Tony Anderson missing that car. But wow, a hard hit. And Bill still has stopped here just about 10 feet from the pit exit.
He's climbing out of his car now, Jonathan. The damage looks like it's too much.
Terminal damage for the 2003 World Figure 8 champion. A fantastic story for the moment that was. It was looking to be maybe a storybook, and a very sad ending for the 0 machine. And now Ben Tunney makes his pit stop. So Ben Tunney heads off to the pits with 1 hour and 27 minutes remaining, and he'll make his pit stop. And I think this is a good time, because this is going to be a lengthy repair, because the 3 machine will have to be hooked off the track, and as will the 0 machine have to be wrecked off the track. And while Bill Tunney Jr. making his way over, maybe he's going to check over the 3 machine, make sure that RJ Norton the 3rd is okay.
Here's another look at it.
Here coming out of the 4th turn, I think Bill saw it too late, and you can see him moving towards the left, making a little bit of trying to make the evasive maneuver.
What a hard shot.
Oh, what a hard shot for the Wild Bill Tunney Jr. there.
Now Ben's in the pits right now. It may be the perfect time, even though it's a misfortune for his dad. All 3 of the other Tunney cars are on the track, so Ben's getting the full focus of the crew back there, and we'll see if Ben could get to the gate and get out before the leaders, before the front of the pack gets by.
Yep, so we're still showing Ben Tunney as the leader, but Rodney Sizemore has now moved on to the lead lap. And with this pass going around the north end again, I can't tell if that's Ben back there. I see a yellow back there right now behind a car at the pit stop. There's the 02 of Michael Kennedy getting ready to come onto the track. But here comes Rodney Sizemore around the north end again. And just like that, Rodney Sizemore back in the lead in this event.
That's right. He's been on the yo-yo tonight. He's went all the way to the bottom. Now he's cycled back to the top.
All right, he's moving now. The cars are getting let back on the track. There's the 02 of Kennedy. There's the 5 with sticker tires of Ben Tunney. So Ben gets back on the track.
They look to be on the same lap, Jonathan.
Well, there's the stripe. Crossing the stripe is the 51 of Rodney Sizemore. The 5 of Ben Tunney crosses the stripe as well. And timing and scoring unofficially show the 2 being on the same lap.
Yeah, and in the restart order, even though they're in the middle of the pack, Ben is only about 8 cars behind Rodney. So now the strategy goes back towards Rodney's way. Did Rodney take tires and take fuel when they were in fixing that damage, or did they just fix the damage to get him back out? And if that's the case, Rodney's going to need to go to the pits at some point to get him some fuel.
Because he pitted about the 37th, 40th minute perhaps. Can you go 2 hours and 20 minutes, depending on the cautions, I understand, but can you go that long without taking fuel? Traditionally, well, there's Rodney trying to get all the way to the front. I don't think that's a lot of movement there.
Yeah, that's
to try to get to the front because you're the leader shown on the screen. I think that's too far of a move, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's a dicey situation if they're going to try to stretch it all that way on fuel or whatever, because they went in most likely just fix the damage. They may have just put some fuel in there at the time because that's what most of the crews are trained to do. Whenever they're in for damage, go ahead and add fuel just in case.
All right, we're seeing maybe the 57 of Jesse. Nope, Jesse's not going to go. I thought he was going to head off there to the pits. I think track officials are going to move the 51 back to that spot that he was at.
But you know, if Rodney does have to go pit side again, even if it's under caution, Ben could now be in the catbird seat because he is on that lead lap. He's got fresh tires, some fuel in the tank, probably to go the distance since we're past the halfway. So we'll see how this plays out.
All right, we'll see what happens here with Rodney Sizemore. You see on your screen 1 hour 24 minutes remaining. And wow, we're at 1 hour 24 minutes remaining. That's pretty amazing that we only have 84 minutes remaining to go in this race. Ben Tunney in second place in the 5. Bill Tunney will be shown third until another lap that RJ Norton completes. And then RJ will be shown in the third position. So much crazy action. You'll want to relive it every day of your life. Watch this DVD and you will have a taste for the Speedrome every day. You can do that by watching the official DVD. You can order it online at speedrome.com, or you can charge by phone 353-8206. And you also saw Rodney Sizemore being stopped right there to be put back in the proper position. Speedrome.com, it's setting records. Never before has so many hits happened in one day with this website. 2 million hits tonight will happen with this Speedrome.com website. You can see all the results and the pictures from tonight's World Figure 8 Championship action on Speedrome.com.
And that was an interesting thing right there, Jonathan. It didn't look like they put him back in his position. It looks like because he jumped all those spots at the start, they're penalizing by putting him to the tail. And what that does is it puts Ben Tunney back in the lead. So Ben has really rolled the dice and hit it perfectly right here.
And there's some weird looking stuff on the front there of Rodney's. He picked up some debris on his tire there. It was just odd
but
looking
not
there.
only did Ben get to pit, make it back out, but with Rodney getting penalized because of him jumping the start, Ben is essentially lost nothing. He's the leader, got 4 fresh tires, and he's got fuel. And these guys are starting at the tail end of the pack, so it's really going to be crazy when we go back to green.
So what Ben Tunney's kind of hoping for, now they're putting Rodney back in front of the 5 of Ben. So we'll see what happens here if that's what's going to be the case. 1 hour, 22 minutes remaining. We'll sort it all out further here, but we know there are 2 cars on the lead lap. It's the 5 of Ben Tunney and the 51 of Rodney Sizemore. And it looks like now there's Rodney's leg stand, his wings kind of flapping there. We'll see if he'll be able to stay out for a long time. But Ben Tunney wants to see a quick yellow so that all these traffic can go away. But he'll push his way through the field and try to get through all this lap traffic as we're back underway. Green flag with RJ Norton Jr. leading the pack, but in third place, 4 laps down.
Yeah, RJ's had his pit stop as well, Jonathan, in that deal when he got through the gate. Even though he's 4 or 5 laps back,
Michael Kennedy and Jeff Armour both spin out in opposite places on the racetrack. They both get going. I just saw them all sawing at the wheel back and forth to try to miss cars. So that was a very fortunate time. "81 minutes remaining. Can Ben Tunney add to the Tunney legacy and keep his nose clean these last 80 minutes of this race?" That's the main storyline we have here with Rodney Sizemore just a few seconds behind him, but he has to slow up tremendously for the crossover that time, allowing Ben to gain and he'll make the gap about 10 car lengths down. Ben Tunney, your leader, lap 235. Rodney Sizemore in second on the same lap.
Let's see here over this distance if there could be a performance advantage with Ben having those 4 fresh tires than Rodney. Let's see if Ben can stretch out a gap, or let's see if Rodney's car's fast enough to stay with him.
Rodney has a huge amount of crossover traffic. Ben has not so bad right now. Ben's last lap time was an 18.1. Rodney's last lap time was a 19.3, and you see the Lexan wing flapping in the breeze there.
I'm sure that Chief Steward's taking a look at that right now. If that begins to drag or anything, they may make him go pit side to have that cut off. So I'm sure the crew is concerned about that right now. It'll probably rip that off if he does go pit side.
Through the crossover. Oh, a big crossover crash right in front of your leader. It's the 9 machine of Art Grew and the 38 of Artie Beware, and we are under caution.
And that's something to look at because Art is the leader of the stock race so far. He's got a massive 40-point gap or 40-lap gap over, it looks like, the 86C of Matt Clark right now. So it's interesting to see if he can get going.
Here's Grew. He's on the left side of your screen coming towards the right side. He's moving, but Artie does not see him, and they hit left front to right front, and Ben Tunney gets the quick caution. Now he'll have 0 traffic in front of him on this next restart.
That's right, and Grew ended up driving his car off the track, so let's see if his crew could get that car repaired. Like we were mentioning, he's leading the $5,000 charge for the best finish in stock. He's got about a 40-lap gap, somewhere around there, over the 86C of Matt Clark, who continues to orbit the track. We'll see how that goes if they could get him back out. That's a big distance for Matt to make up. It'll take a little bit, but he surely could do it with 1 hour and 18 minutes left to go in this event.
Now you see the on the left side of Rodney Sizemore's car flapping in the breeze, first and second place right there. Is that a mechanical device that helps these cars, Scott and I? And is it something that will hurt if that goes away?
It depends on who you ask. Really, at this track, it doesn't perform that much of a mechanical advantage, but it's a great place to put sponsors, and it could be a big disadvantage because if that thing starts dragging and the Chief Steward deems it hazard, he'll make him go to the pit area and either fix it or tear it off. So something that maybe wasn't that big of a aerodynamic advantage could turn into a disadvantage if the black flag comes out.
Let's think of some of the other awards right now. I see Boyd Butcher having a 17-place improvement. He started 32nd. He's running 15th. I haven't gone through and looked at some of the others, but that's quite an improvement. That's about the average of what you need to improve to win the Sonny Thompson Memorial Award.
Yeah, he's got a good run going, and that would make him, if he was able to win it, one of the drivers that's won both the Sonny Awards because he was the Sonny Eaton Award for Best Rookie back in 1990.
Speaking of Best Rookie, we see R.J. Norton III was the leading candidate in that.
Still,
before that, he still is leading the. He's completed 186 laps, but he's not on the track right now. And the closest competitor to him to getting that Rookie of the Year award would be the Matt Clark machine, and he is about, how many laps is that, Scott? About 100 laps, 50 laps difference, yeah. I'm sorry. So,
but you know what? Matt's about 35 or 40 behind on the stock award. If Matt has a good run here the last part, he could really hit it all.
There you go. Third place you're looking at right now, R.J. Norton, 4 laps down unofficially through this contest. So if something happens to the 5 and the 51, and we're coming up to that place about 30 minutes from now, we will be at the same place that we were last year with a 4-lap lead of the leaders.
And the way things are going, something could happen because it's been a demolition derby so far.
Green flag comes out and Rodney Sizemore retakes the lead. It's a lead change on lap 243 with 1 hour and 60 minutes to go in this 33rd annual World Figure 8 Championship.
Yeah, this is a point we don't have to worry about lap counts or worry about whatever. These two are mano a mano for the lead right here, bumper to bumper. 2 guys that put up some good figure 8 wins so far this season at the Speedrome.
Rodney Sizemore, the 1994 late model track champion here at the Speedrome, and Ben Tunney, the 2009 runner-up, his best points position finish at the Speedrome. Now in the runner-up position here in the World Figure 8 Championship. And R.J. Norton in third, 4 laps behind him. So the front 3 run 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Ben, like you said, is coming off his best points finish. He was the runner-up in the season-ending 1 hour figure 8, and he looks to avenge that disappointment there at the end by winning the world title here tonight.
Now, I talked with Ben after that 1 hour, and throughout this week getting that car ready, the rear end had a problem. The pinion and the rear end was all mangled up. The teeth were all mangled up. So they had to replace that. And they had motor problems. I believe the camshaft had damage, and he was running on about 7 cylinders at the end of that 1 hour race, as Ben took a look there inside Rodney Sizemore. So that car has undergone a lot of work this week mechanically, the internal components of that machine, and running very well after a good run last night in the qualifying race that he ran. Curtis McMurtry is in the 5th position. Doug Gregg is in the 4th position. Doug Gregg 7 laps down. Curtis McMurtry 15 laps down. So
both guys that had trouble early now elevating themselves, as we talked about, back into the top 5, waiting for a little luck to come their way.
It's all about turning laps right now, Scott. Now you want to keep your nose clean. You want to just keep crossing that start-finish line as many times as you can.
Right, and we're entering that point of the race where we may have a long green flag run where things are going to change strategy, whatever's going on, and those long green flag runs will really test your machine and your skill.
We saw the leaders flash by the 48 machine of Speedy Teepee, so Speedy's back on track now, trying to turn some laps. He may have time, if he can turn enough laps, to try to get that $5,000 that he would really love to have.
That's
and
right,
there's Matt Clark, one of the other competitors for that $5,000 Kenny's Auto Sales highest finishing stock award.
And that's what he's looking for right now, a long green flag run, so Matt can get back into the hunt of that thing as the 2 leaders make contact as Rodney hesitates heading for the crossover.
There's Doug Gregg you see on your screen right now. He's had a rough go at it in this World Figure 8 Championship, but he's turned laps, now 7 laps down, in the 4th position. Doug Gregg, the 2007 World Figure 8 Champion.
Yeah, and early on, he was seemingly near almost every crash, but as you saw on his car, he didn't get too much damage in all those situations, so keeping his nose clean has really helped.
The leaders have a little bit of crossover action to contend with there. They're behind the 4 of Curtis McMurtry. Rodney hesitates again. Ben kind of gives him a tap, as Rodney really kind of slows down real fast there, coming out of that 2nd corner. More crossover action. Is Ben content to be 2nd? I don't think so, Scott and I.
No, this race, the title of world champion is what they really want, because these 2 have been going for it, but a payday is a little bit different as well. It's $20,000 to win this race. 2nd place brings home a nice $5,000, so there's a big difference at the pay window.
And now we have a pass for the lead, Ben Tunney. He goes side by side with Sizemore as the crossover came into contention, but Rodney Sizemore uses the 53 machine of Floyd Butcher as a pick, and that allows R.J. Norton Jr. to get around the 5 machine of Ben Tunney. He'll have his sights set on the 51 of Rodney Sizemore to get a lap back.
1 circuit, he went from leading by inches to being fallen back behind R.J. there. So just a couple of moves can turn a lap around.
It was like half a circuit, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Rodney's back out front now, chasing Curtis McMurtry, who's moved back into the top 5.
And they've got the leaders looking out for the 83 slowing machine of Chucky Hearn. He'll get it back again, so we'll keep moving. But there's Rodney Sizemore. And if I remember right, back in 2007, Doug Gregg had about the same look of the Lexan wing hanging off his side of his car, taking the checkered flag. So
that's right. He wasn't the fastest car during the late stages of that race, but he was the steadiest car that kept on going and brought him the world title.
So Rodney Sizemore crosses the stripe on lap 260. So we've slowed the pace down just a touch. We'll turn about, if we keep it green, we might turn about 25 to 30 more laps through the 2nd hour. Oh, and lots of stopping. Rodney makes evasive maneuvers, side by side. Bends in the middle of the sandwich, but Rodney regains the lead, but RJ got his lap back. So he is now going to be only 3 laps down when he crosses the stripe next time.
That's right, and that was really tight going in there. Both the leaders could have easily gotten taken out in that tangle.
So R.J. Norton Jr. in the 69 machine, now 3 laps down to the leaders. He'll want to see a caution to get himself back around and let the field get bunched back up.
Yeah, this is when RJ's seeing that 51 stalker stalled over there saying, hey guys, won't you throw the caution flag?
Oh, Rodney has to look out for Jeff Armour in the crossover. Ben got on the inside of him. Ben Tunney takes the lead.
Rodney had to hesitate just a tad right there, and Ben had a nice full run to run up beside him and take over the lead.
Well, officially at the lap, Rodney had the lead, so we'll get them back through here and now give Ben Tunney the official lead there on lap number 264.
And right there on screen, you're seeing 4 of the top 5 cars right there in a pack. Even though a couple are different on laps, they're right there mixed up.
Rodney hard on the brakes and smokes the tires to woe the car down going into the third corner. Now Ben wants to get around RJ and put him another lap down. He goes a little high as he kind of saw Robbie Loving right there for a second. And there's a little bit of crossover action there with a lot of slower cars. The 48 of Speedy Teepee, the 83 of Chucky Hearn. But Ben has extended the lead now. It is up to 1.4 seconds. So Ben Tunney gets around Curtis McMurtry, puts him down another lap. And about 3 slower cars in front of him to deal with now.
Yeah, these last few laps, he's kind of just followed RJ through this traffic, let RJ make the holes, and he's going to try to follow him through. He probably doesn't know how many laps RJ's down. He sees RJ on the leaderboard in third. He may think RJ's on the tail of the lead lap. He's going to try really hard to get back around him again.
So Ben Tunney, 68 minutes and 30 seconds to go with the lead. It is up to it's down to 1.2 seconds. There's no cars between the leader and second place Sizemore. RJ Norton RJ Norton Jr. in third place may lose a lap here, as he does to Ben Tunney. Ben got around him again. So RJ Norton goes back down, and now Ben Tunney has a little bit of clear sailing to go with now.
Yeah, and we talked about earlier the incredible race going on between him and his dad for the win. He's going to look to be the first son to win of a World Figure 8 champion. That's something else he's aiming for.
So Ben Tunney, wow. Yeah, he's got to keep his nose clean. As at the pit entrance, Robbie Loving is kind of stalled. I think he has been able to make the turn. So caution is out now, as he finally does make the turn. But we may be also under caution for that 51 of Jack Smith, who's been stalled for many laps at the crossover. So a couple slower cars in front of him. Oh, he makes evasive maneuvers as he almost got into the back of the 83 of Chucky Hearn. Now he'll just have one other car to deal with at the crossover, and a slower car in front of him. We're coming closer to that final hour of this event. Ben has to slow down for Art Grew and Larry Hahn as they try to figure out who's going to go which direction. Doug Gregg wants to get a lap back. Larry powers by the Hearn machine, the 13, and the Grew machine. So Nigel Peters is out there. First time we've had a chance to talk about Nigel, Scott and I.
That's right. He's ran some laps so far tonight. Nigel, just getting in this stock car late in the season, really having a good time here. Loves the figure 8 and looks to run for the championship next year at the Speedrome. Good driver there in the 03.
All right. Ben goes inside Johnny Lee Bird there on the south end through the first corner. 282 laps complete. Rodney Sizemore clearing all of the traffic, now just rejoining the battle, running second again. So we'll see now, maybe this is get the drivers into a rhythm. Let's see if we can avoid any major crossover calamities.
And now these two are out in front a little bit. We'll see if that Ben's fresher tires can make a difference over this run, if it is a long run.
McMurtry in the 6th spot, about 21 laps down unofficially.
And we're at that point where we've got like 16 to 18 cars on the track, so it may have thinned out enough where we are going to crank out a big long green flag run, and that's you got to show what you got then.
So Ben Tunney, your leader, second place as a recap. Rodney Sizemore, they're running on the same lap. The third position is the R.J. Norton machine. About 4 laps down unofficially.
Yeah, and also on the track, Ben is catching up with RJ. When they restarted that, RJ was maybe 15 car lengths behind him, and now Ben is just about 6 or 7 car lengths from putting RJ back another lap down. So Ben's really cranked out some good laps since that last restart.
Ben has to hesitate for the 35 machine of Mark Harmon through the crossover there. And he's opened about a third of a lap advantage over Jesse Tunney and Austin Tunney have to make way for their brother there.
If Ben was right there, all 3 Tunneys were just within feet of each other.
And he has to do it again as he on the throttle, off the throttle, move the steering wheel, miss your brother, back on the throttle, back through the north end.
Sometimes that gets you into more trouble because the brothers are trying extra hard not to run into each other, and sometimes that can bring up a mistake.
Sometimes when you're racing not to lose versus racing to win, those are the times and things that you can you see in a basketball all the time. A team playing not to lose, losing that 10, 15 point lead with 2 minutes remaining, and then all of a sudden we got a ball game.
That's right.
So third place is R.J. Norton. You see him on your screen. This is R.J.'s best run in his career in the World Figure 8 Championship. R.J. Norton Jr. A trying year for him in racing, but maybe some vindication and some redemption in the World Figure 8 Championship. Ben Tunney on 2 previous occasions has completed the 400 lap distance. They've gotten into the 400 lap club. He's trying to become a 3-time member of that club to join some other good names: Chuck Hall, Danny Turner, George Sutton, Tony Anderson, Jeff Shackelford, and Curtis McMurtry. And speaking of Curtis McMurtry, there we are on screen with the 6th place runner. Curtis McMurtry continuing to turn laps in his return to racing here in the World Figure 8 Championship.
That's right. As we spoke about earlier, when Mark Tunney couldn't race, Bruce stepped into Mark's car, and they called up Curtis to put him in Bruce's car. And we saw Curtis get the right front ripped off early in the race. We thought he was done, but he's came back out and ran up to a nice, solid result so far.
And Curtis likes this type of chassis. He, back in 2006, when he won the World Figure 8 Championship, it was in a car designed by C.J. Rayburn. The car that he's racing in today is a Rayburn-inspired chassis worked on a lot by the Bruce Tunney.
Speaking of the Rayburn car, there's Jeff Shackelford on your screen. Jeff's moved up to the 7th position unofficially. You can see a lot of body damage on Jeff's car right there, but wheels seem to be tracking straight, and Jeff's putting up some laps here, and only his 2nd or 3rd figure 8 start here at the Speedrome this year for the former race runner-up.
This is the Jeff Shackelford 7th start in the World Figure 8 Championship, like Scott and I just said. His best finish was a 2nd place back in 2004. So he's liking the ability to turn laps and see if he can get that 1 spot better. Although, as the race turns down with 52 minutes remaining now, his chances of a 1st place may not be there, but weirder things have happened, as we saw last year, Scott.
Something else historically I'm looking at on the monitor, unofficially, all 3 of the Tunney brothers are in the top 10.
Wow.
Austin has moved up into the top 10, and Jesse, with all his trouble, has moved in the top 10 as well.
And Bill Tunney is still running 12, not on the track, so he turned a lot of laps earlier in that race to keep himself in the top, and he might get a top 20. And the south end, Neil Hurd is backwards, and R.J. Norton hits the wall at the south end. He gets it back. Oh, he's trying to. Yeah, I think he has a problem. I think the right front suspension is broken. So R.J. Norton Jr., the 3rd place machine, cannot turn right. He cannot get away from the wall. He is trying, though, and we'll see if the caution can come out. Rodney Sizemore would like to see a caution and get that gap dropped out. R.J.'s trying to move again. He cannot turn that car right.
Yeah, and we didn't catch that. I don't know if he suffered the damage with Hearn right there, or he shot to the high side to miss Hearn and maybe made contact.
And we are under caution with 50 minutes and 47 seconds remaining, 321 laps. R.J. Norton Jr. the cause of this latest caution, with Ben Tunney and Rodney Sizemore running 1st and 2nd. We will take a quick timeout for the final 50 minutes or so. We'll see what happens the rest of this 33rd Annual World Figure Eight Championship. Alongside Scott and I, I'm Jonathan Bird. We'll be right back to the greatest figure eight race on the planet here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Ben Tunney and Rodney Sizemore side by side on the next restart yet again.
That's right, and even though we saw Ben pull away a little bit each of the last few restarts, with them being side by side, Rodney could get the jump right here and get in front of him. Rodney's well enough of a talent and a driver to hold off Ben, even if Ben's car is just a tick faster on the track.
30-minute better tires too.
That's correct.
So Tony,
yeah,
Tony Anderson, okay, here's what happened. Anderson was coming back towards the north end and spun to miss Jesse Tunney, and they slightly touched, and then there was Austin. So it explains what happened there really to a T.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier wondering if Rodney needed to go back in or not. And I tell you, since Rodney's not went in any of these last few cautions, I would say he most likely thinks he's good enough on fuel. These two are set up side by side right now as we're staying under the caution, looking to see if we're going to get one to go right here. Head to head, 40 minutes to go for the world title.
So we still have not seen R.J. Norton return with what maybe just looked like a tie rod damage there. So maybe a little bit more of a difficult repair than we imagined. So R.J.'s not come back, and he's dropped down to the 5th position. But we're under 40 minutes now. We just crossed the 40-minute barrier to go in the 33rd Annual World Figure Eight Championship at the world's home of the figure eight here at the Indianapolis Speedrome.
Oh,
green
contact!
flag flies again. Contact between the leaders. Rodney really hit it hard. Will Ben come through on the inside? Now on the outside going the one. It's Ben Tunney and Rodney Sizemore first and second once again. Now Sizemore takes the lead once again.
Rodney tried a big run there to jump the start, mistimed it a little bit, banged off the right front of Ben Tunney's car, but it looks like they're both going and underway right there. Rodney has taken back the lead, as we talked about.
Oh, and Ben kind of gives Rodney, and there's a problems with the leaders coming up. Oh my gosh, there were cars coming. Stopped at the south end when the leader's coming. Everybody gets moving again. I think Ben did not appreciate the way Rodney jumped the start and gave him a little love tap as they moved to turn number 1 last lap by Scott and I. Oh, and Shackelford almost gets it to the 5 of Ben Tunney.
That's right. As we talked about on the caution flag there, Ben's been faster than him that last run, but Rodney got back in front on the restart, and you never know what could happen there. Ben's going to try real hard to get back in front as soon as possible.
So maybe Rodney is better on the short runs, and we're seeing that right now. But if we stay green for a while, let's see what happens with the tire situation between the two. As it looks like Ben might be a little bit stronger coming into the corner. Crossover, no harm there. Rodney Sparks going into the first corner, just like last year's winner, the 14 of Fred Bear, who won last year's race. Cars have to make a slowdown in the crossover again for lap traffic. Do your leaders. I think the story of the evening has been first and second being together a lot tonight, Scott and I.
Yeah, that's right. It's been probably a combination between about 10 different guys in that 1-2 position, but there's always been a 1-2 battle, it seems like, the entire distance that you mentioned.
37 minutes, 44 seconds remaining for Rodney Sizemore and Ben Tunney. It looks like, and I don't want to speculate, but the race has really come down to these two cars. 3 wide going into 1 for the leaders. Ben right on the bumper of Rodney. They get through the lap traffic of Art Crew and Neil Hearn.
Yeah, and that's cutting it close when you're dicing through those cars like that, because you mistime it by 6 inches either way. You cut a tire down and head to the pits, you're going to lose 3 or 4 laps under green and throw the race all the way. So they've got to race hard and be precise in every move they make, and that's all after racing for 2.5 hours. So you know they're tired mentally and physically at this point.
Are there drink systems in these cars, Scott and I? As Ben Tunney goes to the outside, side by side. And Ben, no, he cannot do it as Rodney pulls back out.
most of these guys have something set up for some liquid nourishment there during the race. But it's not something they normally do on a regular night, so it's easy to not get that precise and keep the drivers hydrated during these events.
So Rodney, Sizemore, Ben Tunney nose to tail on the track after 359 laps of competition. Now they're side by side at the north end. But Rodney's looking strong here. Oh man, Rodney had to kind of hit the brakes, and Ben didn't want to get hit in the crossover and kind of give Rodney a little tap in the bumper there. And Ben an evasive maneuver there. Wow. When you think about it, it's going to come down to maybe these two cars on the same lap, nose to tail for the checkered flag, knowing, and it's very rare this happens, you have a 1-2 finish that close, and knowing you could have had it if you finished second, and how exciting you are if you do win this race.
That's right. On a regular Saturday night, these guys run a 50-lap figure eight, and sometimes those 50-lap figure eights aren't this close at the finish. So here these guys are after 360-plus laps running this close.
Rodney bounces off Shackelford. He gets past him, though. Ben does not. So now a car has gotten in between, and we're under caution. Oh, Jesse Tunney is right in front of us with a flat left rear tire. He must have gotten hit at the crossover, and we missed that.
This could be the break for Ben, too, because he got jostled around in that traffic right there. Shackelford had to move up to go around the lap stalker. Ben was caught on the high side, had to hit the brakes. Rodney got a little bit of an advantage there, and they're going to reset here as we look for the pace car to pull in front of them.
So Rodney, Sizemore, and Ben Tunney will be side by side yet again on a restart. A stalker, it's a 4-lap difference between Art Grew and Matt Clark for that $5,000 difference, $5,000 first prize. As we come to the green, and this time Ben is on the inside going into turn number 1. Ben Tunney coming out of corner number 2, side by side with Rodney Sizemore. They power through the third corner. Ben still has the advantage, but it's high. Can he make it stick up there? Rodney much stronger through the north end, but they come back side by side. Rodney has the advantage. They're racing for $20,000 there, ladies and gentlemen. Ben hits the marker tire, but he gets the advantage. He'll use the cars that are in front of him as a pick, and Ben Tunney, he will take the lead with 29 minutes and 47 seconds remaining. We're in the final 6 of this event.
Wow, them guys were battling hard like it was the second lap of the race. And here they are, 371 laps in, going toe-to-toe for the victory.
Crossover traffic, they get through it okay, but there'll be a lot more as they come around the north end this time. Ben gets through it, so does Rodney. 0.677 seconds remain between the two cars at the distance. And Rodney gets through the crossover with Ben. Ben had to look out for R.J. Norton the third.
The last restart we saw Rodney get the advantage, and it seemed like Ben was really fast up on his tail. Now Ben got in front this time. Let's see if Ben can stretch it out here over the next few laps, or if Rodney's got the speed to get back around Ben Tunney.
Doug Gregg still in that third position, unofficially about 15 laps down. Curtis McMurtry unofficially about 18 laps down, and Mark Harmon's about 38 laps behind them in the 5th position. So we're going to basically come down to these two cars racing it mano a mano, still on the same lap. Scott, is this the latest that the leaders have been on the same lap going into the event? I know it's the latest that it's been in many years.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've had leaders finish on the lead lap, I believe, twice at the end of the race, but that's been it's been over 10 years since that happened. I believe 1998 was the last time that we had leaders on the same lap.
Yeah, that's correct. Jack Dossie and Rich Fenwick finished on the same lap that year. So it does not happen very often, and it could happen for only the 3rd time in Big Great history.
And that's why it doesn't happen very often, because you make 900 plus trips through the crossover. It's easy to get off cycle with one another. Flat tire, pit stop, whatever. But to have two guys this close.
Ben Tunney opened up a 2.5 second advantage that time. He had a 17.9 second lap. So those tires are now starting to get a little bit of age to them now, but they're still a lot fresher than the 51 cars rubber.
Yeah,
Rodney Sizemore.
he just hit a home run with the timing of his pit stop and the way that worked out for him. And that's just a little bit of the racing luck. You know, a guy gets in, it's a short caution, you get in trouble, the caution goes just long enough, your crew does a good job, gets you right back out there, and hit a home run right there. Now he needs to seal the deal.
3.2 seconds that time by the gap between Ben Tunney and Rodney Sizemore. Ben facing a little bit slower traffic with Jeff Shackelford and Jeff Armour. A couple of Jeffs there. The two Jeffs in the field, I think. There aren't any more.
Any sort of contact with them, he has 3 lap cars in between him and Rodney Sizemore. That's all that stands between the two leaders with not much time left on the clock.
Ben Tunney around the second corner, shoots down the stretch. 17.9 second lap still turned by your leader, Ben Tunney.
That's a pretty good lap time here this late in the race. That's a testament to these tires these guys are running on tonight. The Goodyears really held up well and kept the pace up really fast.
12 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Let's look at some of the other awards here, Scott and I, as even though the crossover action is kind of crazy, Boyd Butcher, I've got to think, starting in the 32nd position and then unofficially shown in the 8th spot. I don't know if there's anybody better who's increased 24 spots. He may very well be our Sonny Thompson Award winner when it's all said and done.
Yeah, the battle for the stock award is still fairly close. Just a few laps separate leader Matt Clark over Art Grew right now. Things are still unofficial on that, but both drivers are still circulating around the track, so that could still change in these last 12 minutes.
Rookie of the race looks to be maybe the RJ Norton, the third machine still, so I think RJ currently on the racetrack, so he's going to want to at least see the checkered flag.
And that race is close on that too. He's only about 6 or 7 laps ahead of Matt Clark.
Yeah.
So Matt's in the hunt for 2 big deals, but I think he would take the stock one over the rookie one if he had to choose one or the other because of the $5,000 prize money.
So that's the extra awards that we always award at the World Figure 8 Championship. With 11 minutes and 32 seconds remaining, Ben Tunney opens up a 6.2 second advantage over Rodney Sizemore in just 7 laps of competition on this restart.
Yeah, even though Ben is in his younger 20s, these are going to be the longest 10 or 11 minutes of his entire life right here because you're just going to hope the car stays.
35 laps or so. If we stay green, that's what he's got to do. We race 35 lappers at the beginning of each season. So
that's right, and this race is like a whole season of races all put together, and now he's down to just 1 feature theoretically left.
That's a good point. Ben flashes past Tony Anderson and Jack Smith. They'll have no crossover traffic to contend with as Nigel Peters will come across and come out in front of Ben Tunney there. Moving on that 10-minute mark now. Scott and I, we're close to 10 minutes to go. DLB, wide berth, giving room for the leader. These leaders look at these drivers look at the scoreboard. They know who's in the top 3, don't they?
That's right, and a lot of tracks don't have the sort of scoreboard that we have that puts up so much information, and these drivers do glance up at that, and they try to give them guys a break because they know at other stages during their careers they're going to be leading and look for a break.
Rodney Sizemore in second place, 6.48 seconds behind the leader Ben Tunney, almost a half a lap again. But Rodney Sizemore battling through a lot of adversity. Maybe the problem, or not the problem, but an ill-timed pit stop, or early pit stop, and really no other chance to change because he knows he's on the lead lap and he could make a pit stop if he wanted to. I mean, he's going to probably stay in second place. Unofficially, they've got a 16-lap advantage over third place Doug Gregg.
That's right, and he's had a great race car tonight. Rodney's been up in the top 2 or 3, I would say almost every single lap of this event, and that includes him even getting hauled off on the tow truck one time, still staying in that top 3 or 4 cars. So, I mean, he's had a great run tonight, but right now he's in the second spot and seeing time dwindle away for his chances to take the world title.
I can't think of any other And we're yellow. Rodney's in the wall! Rodney's in the wall in turn number 1. The second place machine is, his race may be done, and maybe a suspension finally breaks on that car going into the first corner. And that car looks mangled.
Yeah, you see the tires are pointing in different direction there on the front end, like a tie rod or a spindle, or the steering rack is broke on that car or something. I don't know if that's from the damage of hitting the wall, or maybe it broke for him going into the turn. It's hard to say. That front bumper damage is from that wreck where they hauled him off on the tow truck that we saw with Basham earlier, so I don't think that's a part of it. But
and there's a lot of fluid coming down. You can't see it from the screen, but we can see it from our vantage point.
That's probably the radiator, maybe.
Radiator on the water is spilled out of the machine. Now, here's something very interesting, Scott and I. Rodney Sizemore's night is done.
That's correct.
There's
It's looking
8
like it.
minutes remaining in this race.
Right.
We're under caution. There'll be a little bit of a cleanup because the water is now almost getting to the racing line there. Third place, Doug Gregg, is unofficially 15 laps down. At green flag speed, we can only turn about 24 laps. I'm not saying, but Ben Tunney may have this thing locked up, but I'm not saying it yet. He needs to turn about 8 more laps, 9 more laps.
That's correct, and mathematically he could be in that position to where Doug Gregg wouldn't have enough time to overcome him.
Wow.
And actually, if we stay under caution long enough, Doug might not even have enough time to overcome Rodney for second.
Exactly.
And that's how this race works, is laps completed. Back in the 80s, we saw Jim Fox finish second, and he was in the pit area the last 10 or 12 minutes of the race and finished second. So that's one of those interesting situations where it either could go, Ben could lock it up, and Rodney could still hang on to second. Quote Kevin O'Neill's race calls, moments that happen in the race from almost every one of these races. He watches them religiously, so he's really a big fan of the World Figure 8, and he's been very successful in the limited number of times he's raced in it, finishing in the top five times. And here he is, a chance to put himself in the record books and have his own DVD to watch of himself taking home the big prize. It's probably a pretty cool moment.
5 minutes remaining. And I think that mathematically, Doug may have been eliminated right now. Now, if Ben broke right now, it would be very interesting because Doug's about 15 laps down, and they could turn about 15 laps the rest of this event.
I'd say a couple more laps to be really sure, but Ben is just about mathematically locked up this victory, and he's essentially going to go on about a 3.5-minute victory lap here for the World Championship.
Ben Tunney mathematically cannot lose this race unless we are just unofficially wrong. But Ben Tunney will be a winner of the World Figure 8 Championship, and adding his name to a list that includes Kenny St. John, to a list that includes Wayne Arnold, to Mike St. John, to Jack Dossie Jr. and Leonard Basham, to Dwayne Lee, the Bobby Douthit Big Dog, and Curtis McMurtry, those names.
And that also includes the 3 victories by his uncle Bruce and the 1 win by his dad Bill in 2003. This will make Ben the first ever son to equal his dad's feat of becoming World Figure 8 champion here at the Indianapolis Speedrome.
I'm just counting up how many men have won this event. I've done this before in the past.
I believe it's about 14, Jonathan.
14, so Ben will be the 15th winner of this event. I think at 14 last year was Fred Bear. When he was number 14, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and we're actually on a run of about 5 different winners, I believe, in a row.
This will be
no
the
back-to-back.
Yep, 5th different winner in 5 years.
And first-time winners 3 in a row.
Yes. So Ben Tunney has a 8-lap lead over Rodney Sizemore, and a 9-lap lead over Rodney Sizemore now, and a 16-lap lead over Doug Gregg. So Doug might be able to get 7 more laps and get around Rodney for second place, and that's a $5,000 payday. And 35 machine, here comes Ben Tunney. There's Mark Harmon stopped in the first turn, but he gets going again.
He may have slid in some of that water down there left from Rodney's accident, but he's gotten back underway again.
And Mark Harmon will be the highest out-of-town award winner. So Mark Harmon adds to his 2nd and 3rd place finishes with an unofficial 5th place finish perhaps in this race with 2.5 minutes to go for Ben Tunney.
and the celebration must be, the party must be building back there in the Tunney pits right now, because they're seeing Ben on his way to victory right here. Wonder if they've got any champagne back there prepared for a win. I would imagine they might have, because they had 5 drivers in this race here tonight. So the odds were that one of them was going to run pretty good this evening.
2 minutes, 2 minutes remaining for Ben Tunney until we'll see one of the biggest celebrations in World Figure 8 history, I'm sure. I'm sure, like we talked about, a moment he's dreamed of since he was old enough to know what the World Figure 8 Championship meant. A victory so sweet, and I'm sure an emotionally charged victory going to happen here with 1.5 minutes to go. This time by, Ben will complete lap 450.
And they have a pretty big fan base out here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Bill's been a fan favorite for decades out here, and those fans have rooted on Bill's kids and Bruce's kids over the last 10 years or so. And we're going to see those people pour onto the racetrack in a huge celebration here, just 1 minute away in the World Figure 8 Championship.
And I think we're 1 lap away from Doug Gregg getting ahead of Rodney, so Doug will get to the 2nd position here if he can get across the stripe one more time. Under 1 minute to go. 52 seconds. 50 seconds for Ben Tunney. Lap 452. He cannot lose. Ben Tunney going to win. He is going to win the 33rd Annual World Figure 8 Championship. It's all down to just the formalities of the final 30 seconds. 30 seconds to go. About 2 more laps for Ben Tunney. And this victory in the 33rd Annual World Figure 8 Championship. It'll be the greatest victory in the greatest figure 8 race on the planet, definitely in Ben Tunney's career. 12 seconds to go. Last time by. Lap 454. Ben Tunney will complete lap 455 laps. 4 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1. The 3 hours are complete. The north side, down the stretch. Ben Tunney, he'll see the double checkered flags, and he wins the 33rd World Figure 8 Championship, and he goes down in history as a World Figure 8 Champion.
Ben's down there in the south end unleashing Jim Jones racing engine power for some victory donuts. The kid's happy. He may melt those tires down right here.
Ben Tunney is the winner of the 33rd Annual World Figure 8 Championship. The boy, I'm guessing he's crying right now in the car. That's why he's not even moving, or the car is just broke. But Ben Tunney unbelievably wins a fantastic event, probably one of the most entertaining World Figure 8 Championships we've seen.
And you see while he's sitting over there, getting the respect from his competitors coming by, congratulating him on a good victory. The race was amazing, Jonathan.
Ben Tunney adds to the Tunney legacy, becoming the 3rd different Tunney to etch his name into the history books of this great event.
Yeah, the 7 different Tunney to race in this event, all beginning with Jim Tunney back in the inaugural event in 1977.
Ben Tunney will take the checkered flag from track owner Joel Cohen for the most exciting victory lap in his life. There's Austin giving him a high five. And the whole crew now come out, but give Ben his victory lap. So exciting for Ben Tunney. And he'll take the accolades from the crowd as he makes his way around the World Figure 8 Championship in the home of the World Figure 8 here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. All around this facility, fans on their feet applauding the newest World Figure 8 champion.
The fans were calling for donuts down there, and we'll see if Ben gives it to them.
Unbelievable. Ben Tunney, your winner. Doug Gregg unofficially in 2nd. 3rd place, Rodney Sizemore, and the stock champion.
It was close down there. Curtis may have gotten around Rodney at the end. It was very close. We were watching Ben as they went across.
But the stock champion and the $5,000 winner is Matt Clark, and that'll be exciting for him. We'll talk to Ben Tunney here in just a few minutes as well. We want to capture all of the excitement, and we'll just let him speak for his own.
I'm on.
Yes. He pulls in the victory lane. We'll talk to him right after this. Ben Tunney, the 33rd World Figure 8 champion, here at the Indianapolis Speedrome.
The world's home of the figure eight, the greatest figure eight race on the planet, the Indianapolis Speedrome. And you see Ben Tunney celebrating his first World Figure 8 Championship with some celebratory donuts. Now let's go down to Victory Lane, and we have Jonathan Bird with the happy winner.
We're here in Victory Lane, ladies and gentlemen, with the 33rd annual World Figure 8 champion, the 2009 winner, Ben Tunney. Congratulations, brother. What does it mean to be able to say and to be a World Figure 8 champion?
It's like words describing like heaven to me. I mean, it feels like I'm in heaven right now. If I was gonna go to heaven, this is where I'd want to end up, in Victory Lane for the 3 hours. So this is the best that I could ever ask for, because this is all that I probably ever wanted. If I could ever complete one thing in my life, I'd want to win a 3-hour endurance race and become a world champion.
You're a World Figure 8 champion now. Go out and celebrate. Have a great time. Ben Tunney, the World Figure 8 champion for 2009, and we'll be right back to wrap it all up. Let's hear it for him, guys. Make some noise. We're wrapping back up here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Wrap it up alongside Scott Nye, Speedrome News Director Jonathan Bird here with you. Ben Tunney wins a $20,000 first prize and the title attached forever to his name of World Figure 8 Champion. Scott.
Yeah, that's got to be an amazing feeling for the young driver. He's been going at this race all his life, and now here he is down in Victory Lane.
A 16-lap win. One of the biggest gaps, biggest margins of victory, Scott and I.
Yeah, the most is 33, but I bet 16 probably ranks up there in the top 5, I would guess, of margins of victory in this event.
Yeah, so that's a pretty impressive gap of victory there. We'll kind of go over the top 20 here. This is all unofficial. You'll see the graphics on your screen. You can log on to speedrome.com anytime to see the official results as they happen. Doug Gregg finished in second place in the 33 machine, unofficially 16 laps down. Curtis McMurtry got that final podium spot, Scott and I, like you talked about, into third position.
Yeah, it's amazing. The guy hasn't been in a race car in about 3 or 4 years. Comes in as a fill-in driver for Ed Bishop and his team. Comes home third place tonight, and that's even after a sort of a big wreck early on.
Rodney Sizemore finishes in the 4th spot after that shunt into the turn 1 wall. Approximately 20 laps down unofficially. Jeff Shackelford, a great run for Shack. He started in the top 8, finishes 5th, so Jeff Shackelford, a good run, 410 laps complete. He'll move into the 400 lap club. Mark Harmon finishing 6th. He'll get the highest out-of-town award.
That's right. Mark was caught up in a couple of little incidents and lost some laps there in the mid stages, but cranked off some good ones late to keep himself in the top 10.
Donnie Garris III misses the 400 lap club by about 3 laps in 7th place. In 8th place, we're guessing this is the Sonny Thompson Award winner, Boyd Butcher, starting in the 32nd position, improves his position 24 spots, finishes 351 laps to take home the 8th position.
Yeah, that's amazing, because as we were talking during the race, Boyd hasn't raced for quite a while, until maybe a month, 6 weeks ago, when Steve Frost put him in this car, and he did a wonderful job tonight.
In 9th place, in the car that won the 2008 World Figure 8 Championship, Tony Anderson. He was involved in a number of scrapes throughout the evening, but brought the car home in 9th place. R.J. Norton Jr. into the 10th spot, finishing in that 10th spot after running a lot in the top 3, top 5 all evening long.
Yeah, he ended up there against the wall in between 1 and 2. Would look like not a lot of damage there on the front end, but obviously it was more than we thought, because we never saw him again after that.
Top rookie and the Sonny Eaton Award winner is going to be probably going to R.J. Norton III, most likely. And when I say most likely, he is the Sonny Eaton Award winner, finishing in the 11th position. Jesse Tunney, after that hard hit in the crossover, is finishing in the 12th with his brother Austin Tunney. Austin Tunney finishing in the 13th position. Austin's best finish in the World Figure 8 Championship. Moving on down to the 14th spot, Matt Clark wins the highest finishing stock award from Kenny's Auto Sales, and he wins the $5,000 prize for finishing the most laps of all stock competitors.
Yeah, and that's amazing once again, because Matt set out essentially the whole season, and when they announced this $5,000, he got his car together, came out here to run, and didn't take the lead in that till the last hour of the event. So good job of soldiering on from Matt Clark.
The man he beat to win that $5,000 prize, Art Grew, comes back to the World Figure 8 Championship and finishes in a 15th spot. Another stalker, Jeff Armour, finishes 16th. He has had a crazy day, but comes home in the top 20. Bill Tunney Jr. finishing 17th, Larry Hahn in 18th, Robbie Loving in 19th position, and Jack Smith completes 192 laps in the top 20. And you can see at speedrome.com all of the top 45 finishers for this event. The DVD is for sale. You can buy anytime. Go to speedrome.com or charge by phone 317-353-8206. They're only $20 plus $4 shipping and handling. And that website we spoke about is www.speedrome.com, with racing results and pictures. A record-setting night, I'm sure, with as many fans there are of the Tunney family going to download all these pictures and seeing the victory celebration for Ben Tunney at speedrome.com. Over 2 million hits, most likely, going on right now. 2010 race, September the 11th. We're excited. 364 days away. We'll be right back here for the 34th annual greatest figure 8 race on the planet.
And if it's as good as this one, you don't want to miss it, folks.
Well, we want to thank the Cohen family for putting on the greatest figure 8 race on the planet here, the promoters and owners of the home of the world figure 8 here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Our thanks to John Glowieski and to Barney Wood, who will work behind the board to make sure the pictures came into your living room. We also want to thank Paul, one of the engineers, all the other great camera guys as well. Thank